This year I spent an insane amount of money. I bought a brand new mouse and keyboard, new lap desk, really good quality, name brand, wrist rests. Have you seen my visual feast of RGBs for my two PCs? And it all syncs perfectly, which is really neat.
I'm living king dream, dual streaming. I'm the king of crushing goals and belt controls. While they see me go, with my success don't need all that. I'm having upsurgence.
Blacked out curtains, Elgato foam. I have 4 boom arms and a brand new microphone. Primo webcam, the Elgato Stream Deck. As you can see, RGBs powered by SkyTech. I got a new crown, a crown that fits, and Sticker's final chip. Oh, it dropped it. Oh, lickety split. Samsung SSD that was just donated to me. NVMe 2 instead of NVMe 3, whatever that means.
I'm living king dream, dual streaming. I'm the king of crushing goals and belt controls. While they see me go, with my success don't need all that. I'm having upsurgence.
Again, guys, I'm living in this reality that people like me now and want to support my stuff. It's hard for me to accept it and think that it's real. Do a begathon where tip me and do this and do that. We're not doing that. It's business as usual here on DSB Gaming. We play games, we have fun. If you guys like it, you support it. The week is going slow. Tough through it. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Tips very low now. But I've noticed tips very low right now. The week is going slow. It gets to me. My life is ruined. This is how I'm doing. And losers out there who thinks that they know shit, kiss my fucking ass and eat my right now. A full podcast booked, full gameplay streams booked. Everything's booked. Everything's booked. Can't do anything crazy. And I don't even have enough to buy groceries. It sucks. The week is going slow. Tough through it. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Tips very low now. But I've noticed tips very low right now. The week is going slow. It gets to me. My life is ruined. This is how I'm doing. And losers out there who thinks that they know shit, kiss my fucking ass and eat my right now. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing.
I was a fool to marry Catherine. She's fat and mean and I like men. But one day I looked in her bed. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead. Catherine is dead, Catherine is dead. No more mom wife to be fed. Now I call Geordie while laying in bed. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead. Wasn't as hot as my preteen ex. At least she didn't want to have sex. Now she's drier than my flat dick head. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead. Catherine is dead, Catherine is dead. Divorce coin holders bankrupted. I should have hit up Jen instead. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead. To Japan before she'd die. Just a sad life with a guy. Unlike pork chop, no tears did I shed. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead. Catherine is dead, Catherine is dead. All is crying on that being said. Fly out to New York, give Rambo some head. Praise Hogan, Catherine is dead.
Hello, and welcome to the Saturday morning Atlas style stream on May the 2nd, the day exactly after May the 1st, which is a very, of course, monumental day in the Snortex, as we call it, where everyone wants to talk about this guy beating his shit all day. How cool is that? How fun is that? I love talking about jerking off all day. That's so cool.
What a grand and intoxicating innocence.
Thank you, Sildergrim, for the 3 months. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Saying, "Wow, Atlas is great on the banjo." Not me. That was a Reverend Tillywink. One of the better, greatest songs from yesterday, I believe. I'm a big fan. I even left a comment. That's how you know it's good. Atlas left a comment. Very rare sighting there. And also, thank you to Snortle Combat, who before the stream sent in 2 saying, "I love kids, Charlie. I love kids." So thank you for the very wholesome and natalist perspective. I really appreciate it. I hope it's truly authentic and wholesome. Thank you very much. Now to the Atlas segment before we ever discuss the actual guy. If you recall last week, I had a divorce line. And I was best man in a wedding. Maybe this is too much personal information, but it is the Atlas segment. And given that it was a smaller, low-key style wedding, there was no, I don't even think, no, there was children eventually. Babies were brought along. But no ring bearers, no flower girls, nothing of the sort. It was my job to present the rings. And I did not know this at the time. I found out the day prior that it was my job to present the rings, but I didn't know at the time that the box that the rings were going to come in were actually in the shape of a book, making me Atlas the bookkeeper in real life. Now, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it meant something to me. It was meaningful. I thought it was robust. Okay. My friend does know that I do this. I believe he was watching the stream that morning while he was wrangling everybody around. So that was very cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I also told you guys that I was getting, I'm a reader, okay, hard R on that. I was getting the Night Lord Omnibus from my local games store. And while I did do that, when I went to pick it up, I seen that they also had the Krieg novel in there. And I picked that up as well. And I'm going to read that before Night Lords, because Night Lords is, let's see here, about 1,000 pages, just shy, like 950 and some. And Krieg is about 300 and some. So I'm definitely going to read Krieg before Night Lords, just so I can say that I read it. And I started it last night. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. That's the Atlas segment. I've been reading all week. There's been like no video games playing. I didn't even turn my PC on until Thursday. It was actually very peaceful. But then we get to talk about the guy this fine morning. And before we ever talk about him beating his shit, we're going to talk about what I thought was one of the dumber things that he had said this week, about his very, I don't know the best way to put it. It was very odd the way that he was describing the way he was renovating this spare bedroom that has remained dormant for like a fucking decade since Panda left. That's their den. This is why he hasn't been able to work out consistently recently, why he wasn't able to use his versatile film stick and start recording this other type of content that he has been alluding to every once in a while since that he got it for Christmas. So this was him kind of explaining his den style situation.
Jasper, what are you doing? What are you up to? Today, I think what he's going to do is when I start streaming, the game. He's going to run across the hallway and nap on our new furniture that we have in our relaxation room, we're calling it. It's basically a room that's kind of like a den. So it has, like, you know, stuff to do in there, TV and a nice couch and other things.
And at this point, I was already confused because when you describe a den to me, I'm thinking something cozy, something more homely. I'm thinking, well, first and foremost, fireplace, but I know that's not a prerequisite. I'm thinking chairs, maybe an end table, bookcase, maybe some fucking board games. You know, I'm not thinking let's throw a TV in there. To me, that is not den. That is a second living room. Which then begs the question, why the fuck do we need a second living
I'm a
room?
god.
Well,
How
he's
can you
going
kill
to
a
explain.
god? What a grand and intoxicating
decorating this
innocence.
room so that's going to become like our hangout room with newer stuff. You know, do we have a living room? Yes, and everything in the living room is old. So we're actually going to use this room as kind of our little escape room to do fun stuff in.
So they're renovating a room, and I'm using renovating as a very like general sense. They're not like redoing the walls or anything of the sort. They're just putting shit into a room. But they now have essentially a second living room simply because the TV, I guess, and the speakers in the living room are now old. And now they have to escape the old, I guess. Now, they can't escape it in their biology, so they have to escape it technologically, I guess. But yeah, we essentially have a second living room for more relaxing, as if anybody in that house actually does any sort of work that is helpful to society in any capacity. How cool is that? How neat is that? This guy's got 2 living rooms and you work a real job.
So I'm excited once it's set up.
Awesome.
It's like half set up right now. In fact, a piece of furniture arrived yesterday. I need to rearrange stuff so I can have room to build it.
I heard that and I couldn't let it just slide. I wanted to address the den. So it open up with the shortest clip I've probably ever played. Thank you, Pope Super Kami Jizzler, for the 24 months, saying, let me tell you something, brother. The Night Lord's Omnibus is incredible and makes you simp war crimes. Big up, Talos. Uzaz is pretty lit too. Okay, these are going over my head. I haven't started yet, but I hear great things all over my feed about Night Lords. I hear that they're the most robust and meaningful. Thank you for the 24 months, Pope. 2 whole years. Big ups. And of course, this would not be a DSP style stream if we didn't, of course, have at least one business meeting. It is, I would argue, the focal point of DSP's content. You are not watching DSP for a week and not getting at least one business meeting. And of course, I have to watch it. It is obligatory. We must know what the schedule is going to be, how our dividends are dividending. We need to know if our ROIs are up. We need to see the charts. So
I do want to talk
business
about
meeting.
a couple of the games that currently we are playing in the rotation that sadly just haven't caught on, because I'm curious why. You know, as a creator, as a streamer of video games, I want to know why something isn't working. And there could be various different reasons, okay? Sometimes the game sucks. Just to be honest.
The JOI
but in
charts?
this case,
Shut
with
up.
A couple of games
Shut
that
up.
I'm playing that I
wanna
don't
hear
think have
that.
really done very well, I don't think that's the case. I think the games are good. Notably, both of these games have sold well and are doing well. So the question is then, why aren't they resonating with my audience, right? If they're working for me as playthroughs and I'm enjoying them, why aren't people actually, like, showing up
Uh-huh.
to hang out for these streams?
Well, I really appreciate that this question is asked, I swear to God, on a weekly basis. Maybe it's a monthly basis, but it's at least monthly for years and years and years at this point. We still have never figured out this question. This is probably the greatest question to ever grace humanity. Okay, you might be thinking big philosophy, you might be thinking big theology as some of the greatest questions that you could ask human beings. Something on like on a different plane, like an ultimate absolute truth or something. The real question everybody should be asking is, why are these games selling and they're good, but nobody's watching DSP? I think this is a far more important than anything else you could be pondering. And we all know the answer. The answer has always been because DSP's there. The only common denominator has always been DSP. And yet, with the answer so obvious, we've never ever come to it. Nobody could even fathom what the problem could be, at least not in the dent chat that is DSP gaming. Sorry, space gaming.
So we're going to talk about that today. Yes, I am wearing a tank top today under my Vice City shirt. That's why I have the GTA
No one
theme,
cares.
right? The Miami Vice theme. And it is a sleeveless shirt that I'm wearing because people said, did you get one? I finally got one, see? I finally got a sleeveless shirt that I'm wearing under my Vice City shirt today. Correct. There you go.
There's something about a 43-year-old man wearing sleeveless shirts when he's as saggy and decrepit and atrophied as he is. I'm just not quite sure what the thought process was behind that. I actually had a coworker of mine, an elderly coworker, just say the other day that at his age, he's actually relinquished all of his tank top access and is no longer willing to work in or to exist in a tank top publicly. But DSP, of course, has none of that shame. He's completely accepting of the fact that he's a gross mongoloid style individual and has no qualm with showing everybody that.
I have no chest muscle. Incorrect. Enjoy your band. It's a complete fucking lie. Goodbye.
Goodbye, banned. How dare you? When that's objectively the truth, by the way. If he had chest muscles that were worth noting, that were worth it even acknowledging, they would be showing in his super cool and totally popular, cutoff shirt here. But as you can see, he's still got tits. No barrel-chested here.
I don't want any tattoos. I don't want any tattoos. I'm not that kind of guy. No, I'm playing with the collar.
Not that kind of guy.
It's supposed.
I don't want tattoos. I'm not that kind of guy. What do you mean by that, DSP? Who is that kind of guy? What do they look like? Describe them. Aside from the tattoos, of course. What does that mean?
To sit like this. Okay, like even. And it's not. As you can see, the shirt isn't even for some reason. And it's bothering me because you can see this is like flapping away. It looks annoying. Like the shirt's supposed to just rest comfortably and it doesn't. It is what it is. It's likely because, when it came out of the dryer, I didn't immediately hang it and have it be even. So it's all, uneven. What can you do?
What can you do?
Should we talk about it?
What can you do about your clothing that you decided to put on today that you've decided is annoying and you don't like? What could you do about it? It's another great question by the great philosopher DSP. It really is a conundrum as to what we could possibly do to fix our issue here. Completely out of the realm of our actions, of course. Nothing. We couldn't do anything.
Should we just talk about it now?
Ironing your shirt is not an option. Allowing it to hang for a long time as to make sure it's the way that it should be is the way I'll put it. Not an option.
Now, I wanted to do some Q&A, but maybe we should just get to talk about these games out of the way now. Let's do it. Okay, so there's 2 games right now that I'm playing that I like a lot, that I personally am really enjoying the playthroughs of, and I want to play more, and I'm craving more, but sadly, they're just not resonating with the audience, okay? And those games are very much, number 1, Pragmata from Capcom, and number 2, Vampire Crawlers, which is the game that just came out a week ago from the makers of Vampire Survivors. Before someone idiotically makes the suggestion that the reason that they're not catching on my channel is because I didn't play them right away when they released, that's a lie. I played Pragmata on release day, and I played Vampire Crawlers only a few days after it had originally come out. So that's just a false narrative. I am playing
already
very
dispelling
timely.
false narratives.
Now, that we are, having these games come out and, so in the first week of playing them or even on release day. So that's nonsense. That's just misinformation. People like to make excuses. Okay.
Like, what is this mentality coming at your audience? Basically instantly, by the way. Like, this is fairly early on into this pre-stream on Tuesday. It just seems so odd to me that he would ask the question and then immediately start refuting narratives that nobody has said and calling them things like misinformation and excuses. You would think that he's operating in some different industry that is not streaming and playing video games the way he talks about it. This is just, I think, unprecedented, to be honest with you. Like, this is the way DSP always operates, of course. But it's just insane the kind of vocabulary and vernacular he brings to a streaming setup and then uses on his own audience. That I want to remind everybody funds his very, very luxurious lifestyle. Now, you might not think it's luxurious because he doesn't leave his home very often. And he doesn't really have anything to show for it aside from knickknacks and toys like a 12-year-old. But all of these things are very expensive. He has everything that he could ever want, including a sexless love life with his wife. So it is the lap of luxury as far as DSP's own prerequisites are concerned. like I said, it's very unappreciative. It's very hostile and unnecessary. Thank you, Crooked Hound, for the 5. Saying, this guy's gamer skills are god tier. Now he can find the buggy mechanics in the clothing that he wears. Watch out, fashion industry. The guy is coming for you. Dude, every industry should fear the guy. When he walks into your restaurant, he's going to find the bad food, the bad textures, the meaningless and unrobust flavors. When it comes to the fashion world, he's gonna find all of your manufacturing issues within the small and medium Gilligan's Isle style clothing. He is that guy. He's him. You're right. He's coming for him. He's coming for a lot of reasons. We'll get to that later. And thank you to the Furious Cinnabon for the 5, saying, no excuses, Dents. Pay up. Yes, we need to hit the $1,000 goal. JK, unless. Thank you to the Furious Cinnabon for the 5.
Let's talk about each of these games, okay? Pragmata. This is a game with great graphics, for the record. Like, I think that the graphics are outstanding. Again, the RE engine, which is the
always the
Reach engine
graphics
that Capcom uses, is their own unique graphical engine. And my goodness, is it great? Like, the detail, the lighting just looks amazing, right? Photorealistic stuff.
Photorealistic. The most important thing you could have.
Very much reminds me of Dead Space, except instead of shooting limbs and stuff, you're shooting weak points that you hack. So the gameplay is, first, you find an enemy and you have to hack it by completing a mini puzzle, right? Every enemy has a different kind of puzzle, and there's all variants of things. I'm not going to get into massive detail about it, but it's basically just a movement puzzle. Once you beat the puzzle, the enemy then opens up all their weak points, and now you have to shoot the weak points with various different kinds of weapons while you're dodging around to make sure that they're not hitting you. Okay.
Thank you, Chody Taint, for pointing out that we were supposed to be thinking Dead Space, because DSP is incapable of describing a game nor its mechanics and gameplay without, of course, comparing it to some other game that is completely unrelated in just about every sense of the word. Think Dark Souls, a la Bloodborne. It's like Dead Space, and Metroid is like Halo, okay? And thank you, Sir Spoon, for the 2, saying, reject heretics, embrace... What the fuck? Carcharodons, brother? Over my head again. I'm gonna have to Google it. I don't know what that word is, and I don't even know how to say it. Maybe I'm not as literate as I thought I was.
Okay, and there's different kinds of enemies. There's ones that shoot projectiles. There's ones that do melee attacks. There's ones that do grabs and stuff.
Me on my way to Google right now.
And essentially level up your abilities, like your guns and your dodging abilities, so that you can be more maneuverable and deal more damage against said enemies.
There's a Space Marine chapter. Haven't read that one yet.
More stuff
They're not in any of the novels
like,
I read.
example,
Come on.
Advanced hacking
Spoilers?
Freeze the enemies or hack multiple enemies at once, so you can hit them all at once when they're all opened and have their weaknesses exposed with like area of effect bombs and stuff. I just got a gun that's really cool. It actually makes it so that the hacking is insanely simplified. So instead of solving the puzzle, you shoot them. The puzzle is basically auto-solved. You just go real fast and you beat it, and then you can just, wail on that enemy. So
yeah, great.
The gameplay loop is good. Now, that's
one of the few actual mechanics the DSP has decided to describe was the one where when you make it further into the game, you have to engage with the game less and use less of the mechanics. How cool is that, guys? Imagine talking about, like, fucking Skyrim, and then the one thing that you want to talk about is the lockpicking minigame that isn't the most original thing that's ever happened. Obviously, very tried out at this point. And then talking about how when you get to master level lockpicking, you basically don't have to do it anymore because your lockpicks are infinite durability. Well, I don't think that's a major selling point by any means, but sure, man, sure. Thank you, Paul Turner, for the 5. I appreciate it. Saying, dude is stuck in fight or flight mode. He's constantly scanning for threats and trying to head them off before they occur. His parents messed him up. I really couldn't, 100% truth there. I couldn't imagine living that kind of life. Having to screen every super chat, every normal chat even, every tip, every email, all of them under the guise that this could be a troll style threat that is immediately going to get me doxxed or whatever. I couldn't imagine wanting to continue to live like that. I don't know how DSP continues to do it. He's a stronger willed man than I suppose. Thank you, Orion, for the 5. Saying it couldn't be because he made a big deal about Diana acting like a real human. Oh, did he do that during the gameplay? Was he crying about the child character, them either acting or not acting as a real authentic human would? Is that... I honestly didn't watch a lot of the Pragmata gameplay at all. Turn that shit off instantly. I'm a real pre-stream enjoyer, and then it goes off, if you ask me. Especially if I'm not playing video games like on the side, I'm not listening to the guy in the background.
only one part of the gameplay loop.
I'm
the
done
combat.
with it.
The other half is exploration, platforming, and puzzle solving. And it's all
People are
good.
confirming he
Like,
did
there's
do
tons
that.
of-
How
of
cool,
puzzles
how
in this game
robust.
that are intuitive and interesting. None of them are overly complicated, but if you take your time to look around the environments and to, explore, you can find endless amounts of logs that give you additional supplemental story, upgrade items to basically level up your different abilities in the game. And I think it works out really, really well in that regard. Like, it's just a good variety. It's exploration, puzzle solving, it's looking for secret items and upgrades, platforming, and combat, okay? The story itself is interesting. You go to the moon because the moon has stopped
Awesome.
communicating with the rest of humanity.
The story itself is interesting. You go to the moon. Like all the great wizards came from the moon, of course.
And you don't know why. The moon is actually a place where now they found this special element that they're
I'm
using
basically
to
sold.
3D
We get to go to
print
the moon,
things.
you guys.
And it's so refined and so interesting and advanced.
Very original
technology.
concept for a
They're
game.
cloning stuff. They're actually cloning plants. They're cloning all kinds of stuff. And this looks like it's the future of humanity. So why did it go radio silent? And as you get there, you find out, well, things went awry. There's an AI that's running the base that basically made it go haywire, but you don't really know what caused the AI to go haywire. Was it intentional? Was it not? Is this a Dr. Wily situation? Or did it actually just do it for itself? Did it actually become sentient? Like, you don't know. And so you're fighting tons of rogue robots and things. And now that we're heading to the end of the game, we're actually coming across twists in the plot. And I'm not going to...
If I had $1 for every time DSP was assuring his audience that the game that they're not watching or supporting is in the end game, I'd never have to work again, dude. Like I feel like every pre-stream winds up talking about how X, Y, or Z game is nearing the end game and we're slogging through the final bits and we really want it to end so that we can open up the schedule for another game that nobody wants to see. I swear it's a daily occurrence. Everything is always end game and it's got like 20 fucking hours left.
spoil. But basically, it seems like it's not as it seemed. Like, there's more going on to the game than originally at face value.
Yeah,
was happening,
great.
which is
Dragon
a good
Quest
thing.
is a
I
great
want it to be more
example.
nuanced
2
and
months
more
of
interesting
Endgame
of
is
a plot
fucking
than just,
insane.
AI overran everything, and now you got to solve the problem. So it's good, and we are at this point around 11 hours in, and the game is around 15 hours. So probably 1 to 2 more streams, and we're gonna wrap up this game.
It's
And
so end game. We need 1 to 2 more streams that are supposed to be like 3 to 5 hours fucking long. Is that end game to you? Do you guys think the final 10 hours of the game is end game? I mean, I guess it could be a fraction of the total all play time, enabling it to qualify as the status of end game, but I wouldn't call it that. That seems so strange. But there's 10 hours. That's more than a full day's play session for a normal person, even. Not even on DSP style time.
That's good because it won't overstay its welcome. It'll stay fresh the entire time I'm playing it and never feel stale because it hasn't yet. Like, it doesn't feel stale. Every time I play, I'm unlocking a new weapon, a new thing into hacking, right? Leveling up, doing challenges and stuff. It's fun. Okay? So everything I just described to you, okay? Everything would sound to me like that's the perfect package for a great game. And in fact, just the other day, someone asked me, what's the difference between Pragmata and Crimson Desert? And I said, in Crimson Desert, it has all this gameplay, but none of it means anything. Because there's no plot you actually like. There's no characters you actually learn to grow or love. It's essentially just play gameplay for gameplay's sake and waste all your time. In this game, there is a...
And that is a critique, I guess, is fine and could be true to his story, his own narrative that he lives in real life, but it's entirely subjective, and he says it with the utmost authority. A Pragmata is objectively a better game because it has a story and characters that DSP is interested in, and he wasn't personally interested in Crimson Desert characters nor narrative, therefore it's a bad game. I just don't really know where he gets off making such claims with such authority, especially given how dogshit his gaming and his gaming opinions actually are.
Very interesting plot, right? And things are advancing and getting better over the course of the game. It's not just the same thing over and over, but more advancement of the platforming, of the combat, and all of that. It's getting better. So it's exactly the right level of pacing that you want. And it keeps you hooked and going to know what's going on in the story. That's the difference. And by the way, it's not going to overstay its welcome with 200 hours of gameplay. It's going to be done within 15 to 20 hours. So it's going to feel like a nice, snug, complete package that was well-paced and a good outing for a video game. That's the difference. Okay.
Simply because it's, within a certain time frame, 15 to 20 hours or whatever the fuck. That automatically makes it a good game to DSP. If you try and engage him in a lengthy gameplay loop where he's going to have to experience your game for an extended period of time. It doesn't really fit on the conveyor belt that is this DSP Space Gaming channel, which automatically makes you a bad game, of course, because the dents aren't going to support it forever, unless, of course, it's Minecraft or American Truck Simulator or fucking Pokemon. God, I wish we'd stop playing Pokemon. Fuck! I reminded myself. I'm sorry. It makes me upset every time I think about it. Thank you to the Deep Fryer for the 5. Saying to most people, Endgame is credits have rolled and you're either finishing up some completionist stuff or starting New Game Plus content. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Endgame content is the stuff you do after the story. In a classic sense. I believe you're correct. I would even extend Endgame as the final chapter or so. I think you could do that if you want to. That's a little more lenient, but I would allow it to pass. And I am, of course, the arbiter of Endgame. So thank you to the Deep Fryer for the 5 and the clarification.
Okay.
Big ups.
So here's the question. Out of everything I just described, all right, to me, especially 18 years in the business, doing playthroughs, covering games, this sounds to me like a great game. Okay, being honest with you, like I really like Pragmata. So why isn't this game resonating with the audience? And what I mean by that is the first stream did well. And then after the first stream, after that, it just fizzled out.
This is the story of DSP's content. DSP's life exists in this manner all the time, every time. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Shout out Blueface, of course. But not as ugly as... Anyway, sorry. Everything that DSP does is instantly kind of forgotten about after the first stream. The novelty wears off. People want to see DSP in a situation, and then as soon as they see how he plays the game or how he interacts with the story or the narrative, it doesn't really progress any further. He's always kind of the same person. So the initial interest immediately wears off after the first part, and it fizzles and fades out until nobody is watching it. It's the same story for every game, and the fact that we're still asking is kind of insane. This is the infinite DSP loop that we will never escape, unfortunately, which means that we get to do this every Saturday until eternity. How cool is that, you guys? I'm so excited.
Attendance started to dwindle. Engagement, people would come and not even talk about the game at all. And support hasn't been awful, but also hasn't been great. It's landed somewhere in the middle. So that's why I've continued to play it. It's not like, oh, this is a huge disaster game or whatever, and no one likes it. There is an audience, but I'm shocked that this brand new game, by the way, sold well for Capcom for a new IP, and the fact that it didn't get tons of hype and hoopla, it actually sold pretty well. Capcom's pleased. So,
like, he's got the inside scoop, right? Capcom's pleased. They called me. They sent me an email and told me that the sales numbers were actually really good and way ahead of their expectations for a new IP. Okay. And that 6 years of development hell actually paid off. Again, they called me. They told me. I talked to the executives. When is he going to understand that the sales point of games, how much they sell, how many active players they have, it's not a correlate to how many people are going to watch and play the game. It doesn't matter that 250,000 people are playing Slay the Spire 2. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that 3 million people bought Crimson Desert. It didn't translate into viewership nor money. It doesn't matter that Pragmata sold 1 or 2 million copies in a couple of days. It means nothing because DSP is not entertaining. You can go and watch anybody else play it and get more information and be more entertained. It's always been the case. It will always be the case.
exactly what is going on with this game that people don't like it or aren't liking it as much. Opinions. I'd like to hear people's opinions on this. Okay, so please tag me in chat. So Amu says, maybe since it's so short, we've seen other people already get through it. Amu's, that's all well and good. No one comes to DSP Gaming to rush to see a game. No one, zero. 10, 15 years ago, yes, people came to DSP Gaming because I was the guy that ran to GameStop, bought the game, put it into my console, and immediately played through it in 2 days. No one comes to DSP Gaming for that anymore in 2026. So that's just nonsense. Okay?
All right.
People come here to see me play a
DSP,
game
call
and
him
give my
retarded.
honest take on it.
Get
They
at
don't
him.
care about how quickly I beat it. Okay? So Chippewa says,
This is also keep in mind like the third or fourth excuse or narrative of misinformation that we have already debunked since we've asked the question. And we didn't even get to talking about Vampire Survivors yet. It's almost like he's not actually interested in any answers from the audience, but simply wants to hear what he wants to hear, you know? It's almost like there is a correct answer that he already has in mind and is just waiting for it to be presented.
watch your first stream. I decided that the game is cool. I'm taking a break until I beat it, then I'll go back and watch it again. All right, fair enough. Some people do that, and that's why always there's an inflation of views and attention on part one of any playthrough I do, stream-wise and videos-wise. And then some people continue to watch the playthrough while others don't. And that's what I found, is that most people have not followed through and watched the other streams. They just watched the first one, okay? Fred Grimes says, if you're not raging, it's probably too easy. I have died a few times. I'm not raging, but I have died a few times. There's been a few things that I made a misstep, like, oh, crap, and I had to retry the challenge 2 or 3 times, which is actually how the game intends. That let's say you go into a room with a bunch of enemies. Well, there might be a certain way the game intends for you to beat that group that makes it easier. And you may not figure that out immediately. Like, I went into this one room where there were 3 waves of enemies, and there's lasers on the wall. So when you enable the lasers will insta-kill everything in the room just once. So the first time I was doing this fight, I walked into the room, didn't realize that's what it was. I got overwhelmed, and I tried to hack the lasers, and then the lasers killed me and the enemies at the same time. I'm like, I completely botched that. That was idiotic. Let me try that again. So the next time I went into the room to try second try, I said, I'm going to save the lasers for the end because I bet the final wave of enemies is the hardest. So I killed the first wave. I killed the second wave. Third wave was a ginormous monster. I dodged the lasers. The lasers killed the monster. It was like flawless win. So that's what I mean. The game, am I failing some of it? Sure. But I'm certainly not raging at it, and I'm not inept at the game. I'm doing pretty good overall. There's been a few things that have fooled me, but that's the way the game's designed. The game's not designed that you instantly beat everything the first try. They want you to have a little bit of challenge and difficulty and have to replay a few of the challenge rooms or things like that.
How would he know any of this? This is the type of shit that DSP, again, very confidently states to his audience. This is the developer intended difficulty. This is the way that the developers intended you to play the game. They wanted you to walk into this room and immediately fuck yourself over and not understand. They wanted this. Like, again, he has the inside scoop. He asked them personally, what was your design philosophy behind this stage and this level? What was your intended experience for the average gamer? Because that's what I'm trying to give my audience. When in reality, he's probably just retarded. He's probably just not paying attention in these stages. And that's why he always has to play on the normal developer intended difficulty. Because he's bad at video games. I don't think I have to say that, but I will anyway. I will clarify and finish the idea. He's bad at games.
And that's fine. But I've liked it overall. I really like the game. Okay.
Yeah, just like Doom. This is the way that the developers wanted me to do it. I blew up all the barrels and killed myself in this room because the developers wanted me to shoot it, right? Like, it's just nonsense excuses for his own shitty gameplay.
A part of it is people come for chat interaction. The last few streams have been weird. What do you mean? Oh, Pragmata? What has been weird about Pragmata?
Pragmata?
Daddy Big Buck says, I only tune in for games I'm interested in. I tend to gravitate towards older games. Fair enough, but that has nothing to do with this game. Like, so you're the kind of person, you'll come watch me play older games. Got it. I'm a variety streamer. That doesn't explain why people aren't here for that hot new game. It doesn't. It's just your case, but that's not, in general, that's not really applicable here.
Okay, so every single excuse or narrative or piece of misinformation is still getting shot down. DSP, I don't like these types of games. I watch other genres. Okay, that works for you. DSP, you didn't play it fast enough, and I watched somebody else play it because it's, it's short, and I wanted to experience the narrative and understand the story quickly. So they could probably be in the cultural zeitgeist of the game or whatever, which is fine. That's not a real excuse. That maybe works for you, but that's not true about other people. Well, how many individuals are going to have to present their own unique experience as to why they're not here before DSP accepts any of them? It's a genuine question. Does all 212 people need to type in chat and explain their own personal life existence in the past week as to why they weren't here? Is that what he's genuinely looking for? Is that the ultimate answer?
Virtual Boy defeats DSP. You're not even talking about Pragmata. I'm just going to ignore you. Like, seriously, he types a paragraph. Has nothing to do with Pragmata. Oh, what you guys are talking about didn't take place during the Pragmata stream, so that also isn't applicable. Battleduck says, for me, I watched your first stream of Pragmata. I saw the mandatory companion literally piggybacking the whole time. I find it annoying. The gameplay seemed boring and uninspiring. Fair enough, to each their own. I'm not saying that every single person has to like the game, but in general, most people do. This game is doing numbers. It sold over 1 million copies in 2 days. You know, tons of people played it and like it. That's what I mean. I'm trying to figure out why it hasn't caught on. And I just don't get it. It seems like, on paper, this game is the formula for success, and it's worked with me. Like, I like it. So why on earth is it not resonating with the audience? That's what I don't understand. Okay?
Just complete obliviousness every time he asks the question. Genuinely. I genuinely believe he's confused as to why he could experience positivity and other people don't, right? He is entertained, and therefore, just because he is, everybody else must be as well. Or I guess they're detractors, they're dissenters, they're naysayers, they're, internet troglodytes that don't fuck and get no bitches. Like, I'm not quite sure the image he's got painted in his brain, but... We're scanning for the good takes, the good opinions. Where are they at?
You can't stand Pragmata or Mouse PI. Well, I can't help you there then. Those are the new releases. I am playing other games, like I'm playing Pokemon Fire Red, which is a classic that everyone is really enjoying seeing me play. We're playing that on this very stream, indeed. And I am doing other games as well, like I tried Vampire Crawlers, right? And we're still doing Dragon Quest, and there'll be Saros on Thursday, and probably next week we'll end up probably starting a new game once we wrap up some of these. I can't help it if you just don't like any of the new games that have come out. I have to play what's out, right?
He doesn't have to play what's out. I mean, in a literal sense, he does have to play what's out in the sense that the game has to exist and be public, but he does not have to play the new hotness, as I like to refer to it as. He does not need to play the new game that just came out. He doesn't need to be a part of, like I said, the cultural zeitgeist of what everybody else is experiencing. There's tons of streamers that don't do that, and they're very successful. It is not an obligation to play new titles. It just isn't. I skip many a new title myself, and DSP could as well.
That I understand. Battleduck says, would you recommend keep watching it for someone who watched the first session and you didn't stick with it? The game, in my opinion, has got progressively better. Like, the game starts out in a very generic space station-esque area. The second stage is New York City, which is really cool. The third stage,
very original. Guys, they've never done a New York City setting in a video game before. God, dude, Pragmata is really revolutionary. First of its kind.
A jungle. Okay, and now I'm in a fourth stage, which is like a mining area, and now we're running into new kinds of enemies. All along, we've been fighting different kinds
space
of robots
station-esque
and other corrupted things. Now we've got new weapons, new hacking. Like, it is getting better. It totally does get better the further in it you play. It actually does have a good progression. You know what I'm saying? Like, it actually has a good advancement and progression of the game. I think what happened is some people just saw that first session. Oh, you're on a space station. This is generic. It's kind of like Dead Space. Meh. But that's really not the case, in my opinion. I actually feel like the game has been building and getting better and better over the course of the game. Honestly, basically what we're talking about here with Pragmata is that there is no...
DePasta Maker with the 2 saying, skipping new games? Not a true gamer, dude. You know, there are some people that hold that opinion. In all honesty, for the most part, I think it's quite the opposite, actually. When individuals tell me that they're enjoying new games, I have to come with the hardest skepticism possible. That is how low my confidence in the new games industry truly is. I have to be honest.
Consensus. You notice that? There doesn't seem to be...
Thank you for the 2, DePasta Maker. Big ups.
Why people aren't liking Pragmata. And that's what drives me nuts. Because if it was like, well, the game's too slow-paced, you know, the story's not interesting, the graphics suck, the gameplay isn't something that we like. It's not. It's like, it actually is a good game. On every level.
On every level, this is a good game, just objectively, because DSP said so. The graphics are photorealistic. You have to like the photorealistic graphics. What do you want? Like a stylized aesthetic that is going to be, you know, ageless over time, a la Wind Waker? Fuck you, dude. Hell no, that takes too much time and artistry. We need real 3D photorealistic graphics. It's of course going to be aged out in a very short amount of time as technology always progresses. Don't worry about that, you fucking idiot.
Why is it not working as a playthrough on this channel as well as other games? I have no clue. We do have an audience for it. It's just not big. Like, we get less attendance, less engagement, and less support than most of the other games I'm playing. And that's frustrating because I like the game. Like, I thought for sure Pragmata was going to be the big hit, and a game like Mouse PI for Hire wasn't going to do so well. It's been the opposite. That Mouse PI actually has had more consistent attendance, engagement, and support, and Pragmata's the game that's struggling. I don't get that.
It's almost like Mouse PI has such a, I'm going to say unique, but it's becoming remarkably ununique very quickly. Non-unique? In-unique? What is the antithesis of unique? Anyway, Mouse PI has that rubber hose style of animation that is like as DSP would say, a classic throwback to classic animation, all right? It's almost like that might have a more entertaining and visual appeal than the photorealistic Pragmata. It's almost like it's exactly what I just fucking said about how about Wind Waker. That regardless of whether or not it looks photorealistic, it has charm to it that will essentially be ageless because it's already aged. But anyway,
it really does confound me. But I guess I don't make the rules. I just, I just go by shooting from the hip and getting through it. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. And again, no one seems to have a definitive.
I see people in the chat saying the opposite of unique is common. Okay, all right. I was looking for something a little more extravagant and unique. That's a word, but all right, common. My bad, guys.
Explanation for this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Here's what
banal.
Broden says. Listen to
That's what
this.
I'm.
People
Things
are
like
starting to
that,
play games
guys.
again
Come
and
on.
not watch them. It's a trend.
Not looking for
killing
common
some streaming.
style.
That's why so many people are starting to react to political stuff. Ugh. Well, I'll tell you, I'm not going to react to political stuff. That's not happening. Okay.
Because we already did that and it didn't fucking work out. I like that we're pretending as though we're above political commentary. We're above getting any sort of, political takes whatsoever, purely on like a moral or entertainment basis. And that's just not the case. It's because it doesn't make money, guys. He doesn't have, enough conviction to do political commentary. Again, he's not entertaining enough. He doesn't know enough for it to be informative. That's why we won't do it. But again, pretending as though we're better than it, of course.
Damian says it's not their type of game to play or watch. They're just not interested in it. Well, Jay Kuma, again, I want you to understand something. When you say something like this, it doesn't apply to me. He goes, it's a good game. I think everyone moved on from it. Other streamers usually focus on finishing it ASAP or playing a bit and moving on. That's not me. For me, if I play a game and it doesn't work right away, I will move on. But in this case, the game is good and I like it. It's at least decently working. All right. But I'm not the guy who rushes through a game and everyone knows that. No one comes to DSP Gaming for that. So that doesn't apply. I hate when people try to take this criteria that would apply to a big time streamer who has 10,000 viewers and they say, Phil, this is what? No. I have 200 viewers on YouTube. I have less than 100 on Kick. All right. The people that come to me know me. They know my content. They know my pacing. They get it. So that's not the reason.
You can know somebody's content, know their pacing, and then still kind of grow tired of it or be tired with it in certain circumstances. Like it's not simply because they like you, they have to watch everything, whether they always have to have an understanding of your pacing. You could watch someone play you could watch DSP play one game and he moves through it at a pace that you could deem as reasonable. You've played the game, you're like, all right, cool. He's struggling here, he's bad at the games like normal, he's reading chat, it's whatever. But then other games he is dreadfully fucking slow in, and it's completely unwatchable content. It's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to the entertainment value and pacing of games. It's always kind of an ebb and flow. And like I said, individuals can get tired of it on an individual basis, depending on the game, depending on their mood.
Well, people used to do this back in the day, too. I would put out a Hateful Truth review that would get 15,000 views, and they'd be giving criticisms that you'd apply to, like, Angry Joe who gets 1 million views on a video. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't apply to me. Like, what you're saying literally has no effect. You have to put it in scale to the reality. People who watch DSP know DSP. They know his style and content and the way that I do stuff.
Talking in the third person,
they're not going to complain
course.
that I'm not beating the game in 2 days like some big streamer. That's not the case.
So you're not allowed, all the criticisms that you levy at other people cannot apply to DSP because he's such a unique individual. This is the level of delusion, the levels of grandeur that DSP has, that he actually needs his own, I'm going to use the word unique again, unique precise, individualized criticism that can only apply to him because of his individuality. He is not like any other content creator. Therefore, all other advice that you would give to someone else is completely irrelevant. That's the world that DSP genuinely lives in, and then is confused as to why he is so unlikable and his content is so unwatchable.
Yeah, you can stop talking about weird stuff happening in chat for the last day. I already talked about it and told them to stop, and if they keep doing it, those people will be banned. So you can shut up with the stupid memes that detractors talk about because they're obsessed losers, okay? I'm not going to even entertain that crap.
Oh, fuck. I passed it. Someone, Mr. Weasel, is telling DSP, your chat has been weird and filled with lots of strange off-topic talk the past few streams, and I think that could be affecting Pragmata. Oh, okay.
Today, I already talked
Yeah,
about it
shut
and told
up.
them to stop, and if they keep doing it, those people will be banned. So you can shut up with the stupid memes that detractors talk about because they're obsessed losers, okay? I'm not going to even entertain that crap.
I'm not even gonna entertain it, except for when we do all of those streams and all of those, 40-minute to an hour-long rants about detractors and how they have no impact on me until they absolutely do, and they affect my livelihood and my behind-the-scenes personal style life. Ignore all of that, of course. I'm not gonna even entertain it. Not today. Not in this minute.
So Pragmata, I guess we just don't know. We don't know what's going on. All right, why this game isn't resonating. The good news is it's almost done. We're gonna beat.
And I like the conclusion, of course, being we're unsure and there's no discernible answer. Nobody can figure it out. We started the conversation by asking a question. We've made no progress in finding the answer, and then the conclusion has been to throw our hands up and say, I don't know. What a good use of our time. This is totally respecting your audience and, of course, their time as well. How cool.
It in another 1 to 2 streams, okay? But now the other game. And this one irks me, and here's why.
Are they doing? Jeff Bozo is saying the ERP is so stupid. It has to be his own fans doing it out of sheer boredom from his non-tent. And I seen somebody in his chat mentioning the ERP as well. Is that what's going on in Pragmata? Are people sexting in DSP's fucking chat during Pragmata? Very odd thing to do when there's an AI child on screen. I just want to point that out first and foremost. But I don't know that this is true as a non-Pragmata enjoyer. I'm very odd. Yes, they're doing it. Chody Tank confirming. Okay, great. Awesome. Perfect. We love ERP on DSP streams. Great.
Okay? For years and years and years and years, everyone said, Phil, really, you're so short-sighted. You're so limited in the games that you cover. You only
I haven't seen the role-playing. No, I'm not reading DSP's dented-ass chat during gameplay. If DSP gameplay is on and I'm in the room, I'm not even looking at it. It's purely so I can hear him complain and whine and berate the game. I'm not looking at what the dents have to say. I have an odd relationship with DSP content, to put it away. Thank you, Scrappy CC, for the 5, saying DSP, snail's pace, drab commentary, prolonged breaks, toxic attitude towards games and audience. Yes, he certainly is like other streamers. Oh, well, he's the best. He's the best blue-collar, manual labor, average Joe style streamer you've ever seen. And anything to the contrary is, of course, misinformation and narrative, which we can't allow. Get that ass banned.
AAA releases that come out on
Thank
console.
you, Scrappy CC.
You literally play only the big
Big
AAAs. You don't play any of the cool indie games, any of the hyped games, any of the viral games. You skip them all, and instead you just play the big stuff. And that's why your stuff gets boring and played out, right? And I'm like, okay, fine. So now I'm a PC gamer. Now I have the ability to play any game I want, and I do. Like, we play tons of these indie games now in the rotation. Every week we're playing a new one, pretty much, or sometimes they last 2 or 3 weeks because they're longer, but we always seem to have a unique game in the rotation. This week, the game that we started playing was Vampire Crawlers, okay?
By the way, I'm not a big fan of how DSP uses indie games as a marketing ploy. This is, just the I'm going to say vernacular again. This is the vernacular of a true mark. The type of individual who falls for every marketing term and is instantly sold by them and thinks, because he fell for it, if he flips the script and tries to use it on you, of course you're going to donate as well. Guys, it's indie. Don't you know this is the new hotness? This is the darling. Indies are on the rise. Everybody loves them. Therefore, you must pay money for them. It's how it works.
Why we play it? Well, it came out a week ago on Tuesday. I didn't play it exactly on Tuesday. I played it a few days later, but we still played it. Okay? It's an interesting game that combines gameplay elements from other indie games that are roguelikes. It combines elements from, say, Megabonk with Slay the Spire. It's got gothic horror. It's got cool graphics that are throwback graphics to Castlevania, and it's got a kicking soundtrack.
I like that he uses Megabonk as the comparison for Vampire Crawlers instead of Vampire Survivors. You know, the other vampire game from the same development studio. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's got tons of characters.
We only know Megabonk. How could we ever know Vampire Survivors?
You unlock an interesting gameplay, right? It's fast-paced, unlike the other games that are of this genre, like Slay the Spire. This one is fast. You're constantly killing enemies and taking on mobs and doing action-based stuff. So it's fun, okay? I like it. I played 2 streams of it. Personally, I actually, even though I like Slay the Spire, I can understand why people would like Vampire Crawlers over Slay the Spire, because you're fighting more enemies. It's more fast-paced, action-oriented. It's got a better soundtrack, in my opinion. While Slay the Spire is kind of like fantasy D&D, but with roguelike cards, okay? This game is like Castlevania with cards, blowing shit up, big effects, death.
Slay the Spire is like fantasy D&D? In what fucking respect is a roguelike card builder anything like D&D if it's not set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons? What does that fucking mean, dude? How? Huh? Genuine question, genuine confusion on my behalf. That's insane.
Explosions, different kinds of gothic monsters, you know, werewolves, mummies, zombies, vampires, ghosts. It's cool. Okay?
Ghosts, ghouls, goblins,
well.
Loch Ness.
I played it twice, and both streams, one person supported a ton, and outside of that, half the chat would complain that the game is boring, and, you know, it was very slow support outside of one person dropping a lot of money on the streams, right? And
what's a fuck? It's a deck builder, dude. How many times are we gonna have to go through this since we start playing? Since we've started playing, you know, deck builders with Slay the Spire. How many different deck builders are we gonna have to play before he realizes that people are not going to be entertained by cards for an extended period of time? At least not in his audience. Like, they're not. I don't think they have the mental faculties to really get into it, you know, for an extended period of time. I don't think so. It's kind of like if he were playing a turn-based CRPG or something. There's too much thinking going on. Their goldfish-style brains are not going to be entertained.
the truth is, it's not supposed to be like that. Okay? It's supposed to be, hey, people are coming and everyone's kind of enjoying and they like the content and they want to see it continue. So then they support the stream. It's not supposed to be one person drops a ton and is financing a game, right? And that's the truth. Like, I don't want that. That's happened a few times with certain games like Baldur's Gate 3 and or Truck Sim and stuff like that. And overall, it just doesn't work. You want a game that's resonating with the entire audience, right?
And superfluous moniker is stealing the words right out of my mouth. When only one person gives money for Dragon Quest, that's fine because it's a baby soft JRPG. But when only one person gives money for Pragmata or Vampire, now you fucked me up. You just put Vampire whatever. It's a problem. Yes, it is entirely whatever DSP is feeling in the moment. When it was Expedition 33 and like 2 people were still giving money, we had to finish the game. We had to play it. It was absolutely fine that nobody was tuning in anymore and we weren't receiving very much money. But when it's a different game that DSP is willing to get rid of, all of a sudden we can change the entire expectation and just throw it away. It's insane, dude. There's no consistency whatsoever, which is so odd from someone who considers themselves one of the more consistent content creators out there. He hangs his laurels on that all of the time, except for when it matters, of course.
So, I'm curious what is going on with Vampire Crawlers that people don't like it. Is it that it has an 8-bit graphic style? Is it that it's another roguelike card game and people just don't like those? Because the thing is, the game is doing well. The game has a good player base. Like, for example...
Oh, we got to audit, guys. How many people are playing the game? All billion people playing the game should be on my stream, obviously. That's the way this
Vampire
works.
Crawlers has about 20 to 40,000 people playing it at all times. That's a pretty good player base for an indie game like this. It ain't 500,000, all right, but it's still pretty good. You also have to understand that Vampire Crawlers is not just on Steam. It's actually on Game Pass, so probably a significant amount of people are playing it on Game Pass because they don't want to buy it. So even though it says 20,000 there, it's probably like 30+ thousand that are playing it at all times. All right.
Right. We're just pulling numbers out of our ass now, by the way. Just making shit up. How cool is that? He's looking at actual numbers factually in real life as some sort of data point that he can reference as to why he should be more successful when it comes to these streams, and then just decides to start making shit up on the fly anyway, making his data point completely irrelevant.
Actually, Vampire Crawlers, for those who don't know, has a bigger player base than Pragmata. Yeah, there's more people playing that game than Pragmata right now. So it's not tanking. It's not that it hasn't done well. But again, I've played it twice, and I don't understand why people don't show up for it. Again, there's always been people yelling at me saying, you're not doing what you should be doing. You're not playing variety. You're not playing indie. We want you to play these smaller, digestible experiences that aren't going to be super lengthy playthroughs. We want you to be, jumping around, trying new games. I'm literally doing that right now. So what gives with Vampire Crawlers that people don't like it? Personally, I love it. Okay?
And this is that instant gratification that DSP is always so angry about in other people. Everything that you want out of DSP to be a better person, a better gamer, a better husband, a better cat, dad, whatever you want DSP to be better at as an individual, if you wish that upon him. That's you asking for instant gratification and you're never satisfied and you're an entitled brat. But DSP thinks simply because he decided to play indie games after, a fucking decade, almost 2, of pushing them off and belittling them and all of their fans, he's supposed to automatically see this massive influx of viewership because he finally listened to it, to the advice that he was given. It's absolute insanity. What an absurd thing to expect.
It really is like an awesome, fast-paced, really cool experience. It's right up my alley, being gothic horror like Castlevania, which I absolutely love. So to me, I play this game, I'm like, I'm really enjoying myself. I don't get why the audience isn't. Let's see what people like to say.
Let's see what they
says,
like
well,
to
I tune in for
say.
story. That game doesn't have a story. You're right. Vampire Crawlers has no story. That's not the purpose. It's one of the games that's meant to addict you on the gameplay. That is 100% correct. I will agree with you there. Battleduck says, I don't like retro slop. It's cool once in a while, but we're in 2026, not 1985. Every second indie has to be retro-style top-down or side-scroller. Indeed, this is a correct assessment, for sure. Many indie games go the 8-bit, 16-bit graphics route. The reason is very simple. Retro, because they like that nostalgia factor. They think it'll have an installed player base if it looks like retro. And
again, I think that this is an insane assumption. I don't know that people are making games 8-bit, 16-bit, retro style, or however you want to call it, simply because they're banking on nostalgia. I don't know that was necessarily in their worldview. I don't know that was in their paradigm when crafting the game. Oh, we're gonna get all the 1980s fans with this one. Basically installed player base, you guys. How many people were born in the 80s? Oh, they're all going to play this. I don't think that's true. This is an insane assumption again.
Let's be honest, very low development cost. If you're making a game in that graphic style, it means the graphics are insanely easy to produce and put on any kind of platform. Like right now, Vampire Crawlers could literally play on any console available easily without difficulty. Why? Because the game is an 8-bit, 16-bit game. It doesn't have anything complex to it, so it runs well. Doesn't mean that the game plays poorly or anything. It actually does play well. But I can understand some people just don't like that graphic style. Okay. Jay Kuma says, I like Slay the Spire more. The stakes are...
That is, by the way, one of the first pieces of excuse or misinformation that we've accepted this entire time. I don't like the graphics. Surprisingly, is the only acceptable response yet from the audience. And that's probably just because DSP can actually grasp that concept because he's such a graphics whore.
Higher, it's more challenging. Vampire Crawlers is easy in comparison. I'd rather watch you play it once and that's it. I will say that Vampire Crawlers, I'm doing well in it, but I really feel the reason that I'm doing well is because I've played both Mega Bonk and Slay the Spire in the last several months. If I hadn't played those two games and this was my first experience with this kind of card game roguelike element, I probably would be losing horribly, like, to be honest, right? So, yeah,
Great.
to be frank here, I think that
Shout out
I'm
Frank.
steamrolling the game.
Frank must be the coolest guy as often as we want to be him. Big ups, Frank.
And I think that it's because I've gotten experience in this genre in the last several months. maybe if you guys had seen me get my ass handed to me playing this game, people would be doing the whole, oh, I like hate watching Phil and laughing at his misfortunes kind of video. But you're not going to get that watching this game. I'm just kicking the game's ass. Like last night, I did 3 runs. I won every single run. I was destroying this game.
How
I
can
really
you
was.
kill a god?
Card games are
You guys
Grand and
are saying that
intoxicating innocence.
not only is the audience hand-holding him for vampire crawlers, but also that it's not hard and it's actually a fairly easy game. So thank you for the clarification and confirming that DSP is, of course, still bad at games. And thank you, Infamous KS, for the 11 months, saying, hope we are all wearing our tank tops, dude. Well, fun fact, Atlas is actually always wearing a tank top. Maybe this is, again, too personal of a piece of information. But I am a wife-beater enjoyer. Not in the literal sense of beating your wife, don't do that. But in the sense that I'm always wearing a wife-beater under all of my clothing. And I have since I was a kid. Because I had eczema, and my clothing rubbing up against me made me break out. And then I just never stopped wearing them.
More
Oh, there you go.
people, these games are
Now you know.
single-player games. What are you talking about? That's a completely false statement. Okay. Lalafell says you only played difficulty 1 to do dungeons yesterday. That's also false. I redid the first dungeon, but then I did level 3. I actually did the second stage of the library. We beat that. That was the last thing I did yesterday. It was the second stage of the library, which is level 3 difficulty. So that's also false. No offense, but it is incorrect.
I completely missed the point. I was reading chat. It wasn't important. He said he beat some levels. Who gives
Let's
a
see.
fuck?
Rose Diamond says you struggle to get an audience with a game that lacks a consistently paced story. When you play more non-narrative heavy games, you tend to have a lot of dead air due to no story to react to. But I would say, to some extent, you're right, but it depends on the game. Like, for example, a game like RimWorld, right? It was constant talking with the audience to understand the game mechanics, and because of that conversational tone back and forth, I think it worked for many months. I mean, we were playing that for like 4 straight months, right?
So the more you have to handhold him in a non-narrative game, the more commentary you're going to get due to the conversational style, I guess. That's a very odd way to advertise your gameplay, I think. To come handhold in backseat if you want to be entertained. I don't know. That's a good marketing pitch.
With a game like Megabonk, again, initially trying.
Also, you're right. That's not a conversation. Just being told how to do things and then him asking clarifying questions because he doesn't understand. Yeah, you're right. I would not necessarily consider that a conversation either.
To understand the game mechanics or whatever led to tons of interaction with the audience. Once I finally got the formula down, yeah, that's actually when I think the game got more boring for the audience because they didn't have much to talk about anymore. So I think I'll agree with you there.
Once I figured out the game mechanics, I had less to say. Therefore, the game got worse.
It was brought up a couple times. Ferbs, my moderator, actually made a couple emotes for Kick Chat in regards to Dunsfelter, who is still MIA. He still hasn't returned to the chat, and no one knows where he is.
It's crazy we consider Dents MIA. Like they get to use the official acronym. Okay, and their whereabouts are actively apparently trying to be located. Okay, we're trying to get the coordinates for Dunsfelter. He's missing in action. This power of war, of course. Dunsfelter, rest in power, I suppose. Fuck's sake.
They're nice emotes. The problem is they're tiny. Like he made a milk carton that says missing Dunsfelter, but it's so small you can't read it. Like, so what I mean, like it's so tiny text you can't read it in chat. So I didn't add it because people would be like, "What the hell is that?" With magnifying glasses, and
maybe
stuff,
in jail. That's
really
true.
Tell.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Can somebody confirm this is again a genuine question, kind of unrelated? I heard that there was a DSP dent that had been arrested recently for some unscrupulous style activities with some sort of non-consenting being. I'm not quite sure what the circumstances are. I heard about this through the Gout Vine. Can we confirm there indeed was? Okay, cool. I don't know the actual surrounding circumstances. River Rejection is that dent. Okay, that sounds like a name that I was fed. All right, cool. So now you have there you have it. River Rejection, confirmed degenerate DSP dent, locked up apparently for some cheese pizza. Very cool. This is a dime a dozen in the dent community. Really nothing to lose sleep over. It's just who they are, and there's nothing that can be done about it except we're moving on positively.
Any kind of text,
thank you for the confirmation.
Doesn't really work as an
They
emote.
got-
If you notice, all the emotes, most of the text has to be giant in order to read it. And in this case, it was like
It's
a milk carton
Derek.
with all text. It was like missing, Dunsfelter, if found, blah, 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 and you can't
I'm a
read it. It's like
god.
ants.
How can
you know?
kill a god?
It's like
But it was
ants.
nice. It is a nice.
Grand
The,
and
the emote is
intoxicating
like the
innocence.
ants that are in the floor getting cummed on. Don't worry about it. Shout out Penitent Saint for the 25 months, saying the search continues for a normal dent. This search is going to be ever long, I believe.
Emo.
I don't think we're ever gonna
So
end
here's
this
the deal.
search.
I've played 2 streams of Vampire Crawlers. Last night's stream, I saw a shocking fall off of attendance. Like, we didn't even have 200 viewers. Okay? And even though I liked it and I was kicking ass, I was 100% whooping butt and doing super well in this game. Okay? One person contributed over $80 to the stream. And we did okay. The stream was
Well.
a decent stream. I can't expect that this guy's going to show up to every Vampire Crawler stream and drop giant contributions. I just can't. And being that we've done 2 streams of the game and already the attendance has completely fallen off and all the support is coming from one guy, I think we got to kind of move on. And it sucks because I like it. Like, I did really well. And in fact, we had the new stage that we unlocked the bridge and people wanted me to do the bridge, saying it was very challenging. I don't see the point. I don't think the game's going to work, and it sucks. I like it. I like the
Dude, imagine, fucking imagine saying people wanted me to do this part of the game. They said it was difficult and that this is what they wanted to see, and I don't think it's going to be worth it. Imagine having that mindset as a streamer, a game player, and an entertainer all in one. To have people say they want to see something and then say it's not even worth doing. I don't know how you can come to that conclusion logically. I think you would have to be some sort of mentally deficient retard, actually.
I like that we're doing variety.
Put it
And
bluntly.
we're trying new roguelike games and things like that. They're just not working. All right. They're really not, to be honest with you. They don't seem to catch on. That's what I mean about Sorrows. Like, I'm going to spend $70 on this game, and I don't know if it's going to work. People might be like, nah, roguelike again. You're playing too many roguelikes, you know? And they're right. Like, it seems like every game wants to be a roguelike today. Everyone's following the trend of we have to have a game that's you have to have a perfect run and it resets if you lose, Yeah, I get it. So I don't know. So I think, honestly, I'm going to finish Pragmata because Pragmata we've already played so far into. It would be really stupid to not finish it. Okay.
Sunk cost fallacy through and through, by the way. Not that I think he should quit the game, because I think that would be, of course, bitch-made, money-centric, greedy little piggy mentality. But yeah, it's definitely still sunk cost.
But as for Vampire Crawlers, I hate to say it, I do think that that's it for it. All right. But what happens now is that this kind of leaves. Shut up, Phil. Quiet, Phil. This leaves a question. Okay. So.
Okay, he's taking too long. Thank you, ZOMG, for the 50 knock. And you say having CP as your fans is one thing, but defending them is a completely different low. Well, look, they never engaged with that in my chat, but they were obviously involved in some underhanded activities that I will not embellish on whatsoever. That's something akin to what DSP has said in the past about Derek. So we're gonna move on positively, of course. We're not gonna talk about this for too long.
Or excuse me,
Thank
Thursday
you,
night was either gonna be
ZOMG.
Mouse
I
PI for
appreciate
Hire
it.
or Vampire Crawlers. I guess this just solidifies it'll be Mouse PI for Hire again. Damian says, well, what do you want to play yourself? You already know. I already explained. I love Vampire Crawlers. I'd love to keep playing the game. But if no one's going to show up and no one's going to support it, then I can't. That is the double-edged sword of being an internet content creator, is that you have to find things that people actually want to watch you play and will be there for and support, because otherwise there's no point in streaming it. You know?
Yeah, it's not about your enjoyment or any of that whatsoever. You don't actually have to enjoy what you stream or what you talk about. You don't have to like it at all. It's all about the money, money, money. Always has been. Okay, that's the way the DSP has always worked and will always work. There is no other objective during the DSP stream. And I think that it is further cemented by our constant request to have Asmongold, or in the past other larger content creators, interact with DSP. You know, he calls them out. He calls them out of their name very frequently, berates and belittles the content they make. Just here is him essentially begging for another Asmongold spot for his very robust bustathon.
Mojito Kitty has literally spammed the chat endlessly for 3 days. saying, let's lock in Asmongold for Friday's marathon while we still have time. Literally, he won't stop spamming the chat saying it. What do you guys think? All right, let's actually turn this over to the crowd. The over 200 some people on YouTube. And how many do we have on Kick this morning? 0. According to this, we have 0 viewers. Let me refresh that. Okay, we have 113 viewers on Kick. I thought as much.
I do like the person in his chat right now is a little connecting piece from the last clip. This F for fake individual in the chat saying, how do you reconcile saying on one hand that people should stream what they love and not treat it like a job, and say that you'll only persist streaming games that they receive more robust donations? And it's a great question. Of course, is never going to be answered. But like I said, a little continuity from the last clip. Very cool.
For those of you who watch my content, all right, do you even care, to be honest? Like, let's say, for example, Asmongold came by this Friday during my May 1st mega
Busting.
marathon.
Cringe bit,
and
by
hung
the
out for
way.
like 10 minutes and we had a conversation. Would you care? Because ultimately, I don't really care about, you know what I mean? Like one person spamming the chat. I care about my actual audience of viewers. Like, is it a big deal? Because the thing is, I don't really care that much, honestly. Like, I think the guy is an okay guy. I don't know. I don't watch his content, right? Well, his takes on me, I think, are funny. Like, when he reacts to me, of course, most of the time when he reacts to me, he reacts to out-of-context stuff. So he only understands
Always.
the context of what he's watching.
There's never enough context to laugh at DSP. You could watch all fucking 18 years of DSP in a row, right? You could make this your life's journey and become a complete nunce, and make this your mission. Even if you watched all 18 years back to back, DSP would tell you you don't have the full context and you're not allowed to make fun of him. Just without a doubt, this is the way that it would be. So it's a completely pointless argument and battle. Never worth arguing.
And I think that his takes are funny when he reacts to me. I had a 2-hour conversation with the man in November that was an incredibly level-headed and fair conversation. And at the end of that conversation, I thought that we kind of had a vibe of, hey, we're both guys who like games. I'm kind of misunderstood on the internet. He kind of understood that after talking with me for 2 hours. And we was like a cool thing. Then last month, you guys wanted me to get him on my birthday marathon, right? So I made a formal invite. Why? Because it's the only way I can get his attention. Like if I try to private message him or whatever, he will never see it and never respond. But if I do a big public thing on a show, people will send him the clip, right? So I did a big public thing saying, hey, I got my birthday coming up. I'm doing a day-long marathon. If you want to come by and just hang out for a few minutes, that'd be cool. It's up to you.
An incredibly sad display, by the way, for a 40-plus-year-old, 42 going on 43-year-old man to say, hey, it's my birthday, buddy. Do you want to come on my stream? Please, please, it would be very cool if you came onto my stream for my birthday.
And apparently he watched the clip. He said, hey, I am interested
Pathetic.
in doing that. Maybe we will.
It's sad.
And then
It's
during my birthday
embarrassing.
marathon, people actually came and reminded him. He said, oh, shit, I actually do want to do that, but I'm going to eat. I'll be right back. And then he got banned from Twitch while he was eating. So because of that, he didn't go back online for a week. So obviously he wasn't able to come and hang out and say hi on the birthday marathon, right? So does anyone actually care? Because here's the thing. People say, oh, he's fake or whatever. Here's the deal. He knows how the game works. So does a lot of people, all right? He probably doesn't really like me, but at the same time, he doesn't hate me. But he knows that
You could make that statement about basically everybody on the planet. He doesn't. I don't think he really likes me. Holy shit.
to me brings in
Sometimes he says the truth, and he doesn't realize how true it is.
attention and gets him views. So obviously he likes the fact that we have kind of a little back and forth, and that every once in a while he can talk about me and get a rise from his audience, and then every once in a while I talk about him, and it goes back. It reciprocates. So I don't think he has any problem.
Also, DSP greatly overestimating his role in the reciprocal style content of like reacting and biting each other's stuff, I guess. Watching clips of and reacting to. I think he, again, is greatly overestimating how big of a role he plays, given that he's a laughing stock McDumbass.
Like he did during the birthday marathon, hosting my kick stream, which resulted in me getting like $1,000 and ridiculous amounts of views on my stream. That was pretty nice of him. Like, that's like the second solid he's done me. You know what I mean? And that's really cool that he went out of his way to do that. So I don't want to keep bothering the guy and being like, hey, will you come to the next marathon? Will you come to the next marathon? No. Like, if he wants to, that's cool. I'm down for it. If he ever wanted to come on and hang out and have a conversation, I'm down for it. Like, that was an awesome conversation that we had in November, 100%. And since then, so much has changed. As a direct result of us having that conversation together in November, what has happened? I've massively improved my setup and my studio. I no longer have goals on my streams. I make so much now, overall in my content, I have ultimate flexibility to jump around and play any game that I want at a moment's notice. I've gotten every cool peripheral and thing and gadget and gizmo to make my streams better.
Hang on, I got every gadget and gizmo.
Ultimate flexibility to jump around and play any game that I want at a moment's notice. I've gotten every cool peripheral and thing and gadget and gizmo to make my streams better. And overall,
what does this have to do with Asmongold? Like, I can't even fathom when you're talking about the important things that you value in your life, looking around and going, yeah, I've got all the peripherals, I got all the gadgets, all the gizmos. It's the most backwards fucking priorities from a man that's almost like, I can't, okay, I'm not going to dox my own age, Jesus Christ, but is much, much older than me, okay? It just seems so fucking backwards to care about things at that age that are so superfluous and inconsequential.
Everything has just been so much better since then. Like, no exaggeration, because he gave me positive attention and a fair chance to be viewed by a new audience. Things have improved dramatically for me in my content and my life. So I'm grateful to the guy for giving me that opportunity. That was very nice of him. He didn't have to do that, you know? And I'm moving forward doing my own thing. So why is it that you guys keep saying shit like, hey, are you gonna bother this guy and you're gonna ask him to come on your marathon? You're gonna do this? No, I'm making my own content. My content is not reliant on Asmongold or his reaction to my content or him coming and hanging out with me. If he ever wanted to come by and have a cool conversation or whatever, sure. I'm not going to say no, but that's on him. Like, right now, my marathon on Friday is going to be fun. We're going to be celebrating the history of...
It's so weird to me that whenever he has these conversations about things that he either does or doesn't want to do, it's always about what his content relies on. This is not what my content is about. I'm my own unique individual, and I've always gone my own way, and yada, yada, yada. It's never about, you know, putting on an entertaining piece of content and doing something that might actually entertain, might be interesting, might provide some sort of insight into something that isn't usually DSP's forte. And I think that's why people want to see him interact with other streamers, even if the other streamer is somebody who's not nearly as entertaining as they probably should have been in the Roach King. DSP interacting with other individuals is always it's always interesting because he is so alien. He doesn't understand conversation or how to move you know, socially around somebody else, and he's never interested in like putting that on display. He's not interested in making this a part of his content on a kind of regular basis just for the sake of Mr. Variety, right? It's always what he relies on that's the most important, which I think then makes you a non-variety style streamer, which is not the end-all be-all of content. Not everybody has to be Mr. Variety. You can have a specialty. Look at me, obviously. It's just so striking to me that he's so short-sighted for somebody who, again, hangs his hat on being Mr.
Mega Man,
Variety.
we're gonna be doing a bunch of Mega
the
Man
guy that does
games.
everything.
We're gonna have a whole bunch of silly fun and memes and good
yeah,
stuff.
usually he
I'll tell you
does
right
say
now,
bread
Friday's
and
gonna
butter.
be a great
You're
stream. Okay, it is. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be a good time. Everyone's gonna have a good time with the Mega
Busting.
Marathon this Friday. Okay? Now, if he decides he wants to come by and say hello, awesome. He's always welcome. But the last time I checked, I don't think Asmongold is too concerned. He has things going on in his life that are important, and I think that talking to DSP is not one of them. You know what I mean?
That goes for,
Maybe at
again,
some point
everybody on the
something will
planet.
happen.
You could probably even say that about Kat. She has things going on in her life where talking to DSP is not important.
That's pertinent and interesting. He'll be like, now I do want to talk to DSP because
That's
now
why they have
something's
two
going on.
living rooms
I don't
now.
think that's happening right now. So me sitting here and be like, oh.
Imagine 2 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. Next, we're going to get 2 kitchens. We already have 2 bathrooms. We're going to have 2 garages. two woodland style creatures in the background, one or in the backyard, one for each of them. Like everything is being divorced at this fucking point.
Asmongold, will you please come on my marathon and please?
Yeah, might
have
as
a
well get 2
conversation with me?
condos.
Hey, what's the
2
point?
different marriages. Fuck it.
Well,
I mean, we're going all the way, right?
Nor do I think that it's in his good use of his time.
Yeah, Seven.
You know what I'm
They'll
saying?
just put up a wall. You're right. It's just me, you, and this brick wall that you built between us on some SpongeBob shit. You're right.
Okay?
Of course, I stopped talking for the big sip.
Exactly. So, all right. So here. So I'm sure people are going to send him this clip, or maybe they won't. Who knows? Because who knows what context they'll send, right? Will they send the full context, or will they only send 10 seconds of what I just said? Who knows, right? So here, I'll summarize. This Friday, May 1st, I'm doing a special anniversary celebration marathon. Okay?
Anniversary celebration is a crazy way to call the remembrance of jerking off. I don't know why we're doing a celebration and remembrance of beating our shit live for the whole world to see. What an odd thing to celebrate. We haven't gotten there yet, but it is insane to me that he would try and double down and cash in on the meme, especially at this point.
It's going to be cool retro vibes. I'm going to be drinking.
Yeah, in memoriam of all the brave
If Adam goes
swimmers,
streaming,
indeed.
And at any point during the day, he decides, hey, I want to hop on and have a conversation with Phil for a bit. He's
All
welcome.
the cummies
I'll be
lost
here
in the
all day.
great battle.
I'll just
All
get
right,
my
I'll stop,
Discord set up. I'll have
stop.
to try to do it ahead of time because actually I didn't do it ahead of time for my birthday marathon, and that was on me. I'll set it up so if he's ready, if he wants to come on and hang out and have a conversation, we could do it. But we also don't have to. It's not a big deal. But if he so wishes to do that, he can. He's welcome. It was unfortunate that it sounded like he wanted to do it during my birthday marathon, and then he got banned from Twitch, and therefore he couldn't stream for a week. That sucked, right? But it's all on him. I'm not asking for a favor. I'm not asking for his attention. It's only if he feels like doing it. So if people...
The most roundabout way to ask for attention and favor, by the way, is this segment right here. Is the audio off? No, it's this one specific clip from this one specific clipper. I'm not gonna dog on him because I appreciate the work anyway.
Tell him during Friday,
Just
hey,
pretend
Phil's
DSP is
streaming, when
vintage
you wanna go on?
style.
He says yes, then yeah, we could do it. But if not, it's not a big deal. We're still going to have a good time no matter what. Okay? There you go. Send him whatever clip you want. Go for it. Okay.
Lags a lot, of course, pointing out he doesn't even celebrate him and Kat's anniversary, but the day that he jerks off, of course. Well.
Okay.
Dark
Maybe
side
Wings would come on, says
photograph.
P. Manning.
That's pretty funny.
Wings could come on my show whenever he wants. Right now, if Wings of Redemption said, hey, Phil, I wanted to talk to you for 10 minutes, I would bring him on immediately and we could chat for 10 minutes. I don't care. The thing with Wings is, like, it has to be, like, this big pre-planned production, and, like, then he can't make it anyway. I don't know. I don't know what's up with him. I heard that he's doing all kinds of stuff these days. I heard that now he's on a morning show on Lalcow Live. It's like, wait,
did we just did we just try and pretend as though Wings is the one that demands that having a conversation be a big hoopla, a big pre-planned production? Isn't that on DSP's end, given that he's the one that's A, the streamer, and B, the one that's completely anal about his schedule at all times of every fucking day? Is that not more his fault than fucking Wings? Like, how are we just shirking this off to Wings so haphazardly?
what?
I
You
disagree.
Said 17, 18, 20, 40, 50 times you're not going back to Lalcow. Now he's on Lalcow again, but it's a different show. Like, it's not the main show. It's like a different show he's on now, I guess, as one of the hosts. So sadly, I guess he wasn't making enough on his own streams that he had to have another revenue source. So he's gone back to Lalcow again, despite the fact he said he wouldn't.
He actually didn't say
So,
that. He didn't say that he wasn't going back to Lolcow. He said he didn't want to. Those are two different statements. He even left the door open and said that he couldn't say that he wouldn't, despite not wanting to, because he would always leave that offer on the table in case he needed the money. Again, we're just misrepresenting and lying on Wings' name, but we're going to pretend as though we're very cordial, we're very friendly. Wings is, I guess, one of our own, the Royal Hour, of course. Me, you, and DSP, we're all one entity.
He now apparently is getting on a schedule, which is good for him. Like, he should be doing that. He should be getting on a schedule, having order to his life, which he swears he hates, but it sounds like he's actually doing some of it now. You know what I mean? So, good for him. That's a good, positive thing. I'm glad for him, you know? I think it sucks that he has to do it with Lolcow, who he said he outright didn't want to do Lolcow stuff again, yet he's doing the Lolcow stuff again. For what I'm to understand, it's a talk show. It's not him doing stunts and horrible, embarrassing things, so I guess that's a good thing. If that's what he wants to do, then more power to him, and I'm glad that he's doing it, and he's going to have success doing it, hopefully.
All right. So there you have it. There was the cry out to the heavens for Asmongold to show up, even though we pretended as though that's not what we're asking for. In the fake positivity style segment where we wish the best to Wings, even though we constantly benefit off of his downfall, and of course talk shit about him on our own streams and make money. You know, don't worry about that. I thought this segment was pretty funny. I wanted to bring this up. It's about DSP being ugly. It's like just low-hanging fruit, I know, but I still find it a little amusing,
Says,
especially his reaction.
Would you consider anything for your receding hairline or your facial profile? You lost a lot of weight recently. These can make you look better and help your career. No.
No.
As I've said,
Why would I want to look better, you fucking idiot?
right? I am not hiding my age. I am not hiding the fact that I'm getting older. Okay? As you get older, things happen. Right? Really, things happen. Your
No
hair
way.
recedes. It turns gray.
You say, what did he say?
Age, I am not hiding the fact that I'm getting older. Okay? As you get older, things happen. Right? Really, things happen. Your hair recedes.
Your hair recedes. I thought he says there's heresies. I was like, huh? I mean, heresies do indeed happen throughout your life. This is undeniable. But I didn't think that we were going to call them out like that.
It turns
But, all right,
gray.
your hair recedes. My bad.
Okay? Your face, it gets a little bit less tight, if you know what I'm saying. It starts to droop in certain places. Your body will do that too. And there's nothing you can really do about that. I am working out, so I'm trying to counter the effects of age on my body. But when you get middle-aged, this just happens. You understand? Like, there's nothing you can really do. You just got to accept it.
Once again, objective truth from DSP, because his body is decaying and atrophying and melting just off of his bones live and in the flesh. Of course, this is how all middle-aged individuals are, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's absolutely no regiment that you could implement. There's no dietary changes you could make. None of that is within your purview. You must just melt.
Now, I could be like some YouTubers, and I could buy a hair piece and glue it to my head, and I could use filters on my camera to try to get rid of my wrinkles. You know, I could fake it and try to look younger to try to appeal to an audience of 20-year-olds and teens, but I don't care. The vast majority of people who watch my content are
Also crazy to assume that the only people that want to see attractive people in their media are teenagers and 20-year-olds. I'm pretty sure that most people would rather look at attractive people as opposed to ugly people. Now, that might be a shallow thing that a lot of people don't want to admit, but it just, I think that is the truth. I think everyone would prefer if everyone else was better to look at.
between the age of 22 and 50. I'm not kidding. That's my demographic. No one under the age of like their early 20s really watches my content. So I don't care about looking young and trying to appeal to the kiddies. If I look older, you shouldn't care. Who gives a shit? Right? I'm a gamer. And I'm someone who chills with you every day. Who cares? Look, I'm wearing a duck hunt shirt.
But it's a visual media. Like, what? I could understand having this point if you had a setup akin to an Atlas the Bookkeeper, where you do not actually have a face cam, you don't show yourself, you're not necessarily an in-person style personality, you're instead a character, a caricature, however you want to display yourself. But if you're going to turn the fucking webcam on, you might as well put some effort into your goddamn appearance. And I said this when he was still wearing his greasy gamer tees and showing up in his fucking jammies and his collared shirts, which he does on a regular basis still. If you're going to turn the camera on, put some effort into it or don't bother. Do something else. Come up with a different way to represent yourself, or not represent yourself at all is also an option. I just can't imagine. ALT is old, but his face is not melting. This is true. He looks reasonable for his age, actually. Even youthful for as ancient as he is. But I digress. Just having some sort of respect for the visual beauty of your streams, I think would go a long way for DSP. And that means turning the fucking camera off or being better looking.
Do you think I'm trying to appeal to the kiddies wearing a fucking duck hunt shirt? Did they even know what duck hunt is? Of course they don't.
The kids don't even know
They'll
what
be like,
duck hunt
Flappy
is.
Bird? No.
They're ignorant.
No, stupid. It's called gaming history. It's called legacy, nostalgia, the things I grew up playing. It's what I love. So, I'm representative of that in my content. I don't care about my hairline is going back. I don't care that my facial hair is white. I don't give a shit.
So hang on. That might be the dumbest thing he said yet. Because he enjoys Duck Hunt, he is therefore representing games of the past by being an ugly old fuck. That's genuinely his line of arguing here. That is the point that's been made. He's allowed to be an ugly old fuck because he likes old things, I guess. Okay. Sure.
Like, oh, you have a patchy beard. No, I don't. It's all white.
Definitely
That's why it looks
patchy,
like
brother.
that, 'cause it's
It's
all
definitely
white down here.
patchy.
What do you want me to do? Dye it so I look like I'm 10 years younger? Why do I care? What does that affect my content? It doesn't. I'm not here to be a model. I'm not here to show off and, act like I'm some youthful Adonis. No one cares. People just want to see me talk and play games, right?
And again, jumping to the extreme, some youthful Adonis. Nobody is asking for that. They're just, asking for a little bit of effort put into the general, maintenance of the person. That's all they're asking for. Thank you, Cloudbreaker, for the 2. Saying DSP VTuber arc when? Great question. I think it'd actually be a better alternative. We'd have far less fodder to throw at DSP. We wouldn't be able to make fun of his shitty get up or his 12-year-old background enjoyment and all the peripherals and the dumbass RGBs. Like, we wouldn't have to do any of that anymore, and we couldn't make fun of it. But it would probably be a better experience overall. Don't look like you smell like cheese is great advice for DSP. I like that.
Men age and get better looking. It's not fair. Well, I'll say this, okay? When I was younger, just didn't take care of myself, all right? I ate horribly. I drank like a fish, all right? I didn't sleep.
Eric Brennan is right. The answer to the VTuber question, which I appreciate, Cloudbreaker, is 10 years after VTubers hit the scene. So I think you still got... Shit, it's probably coming up then, right? I think it's almost time. We're running out quickly.
Thing. And because of that, for all the years that I was, popular on YouTube, you're talking 2008 to probably like 2014 were probably my biggest years, right? I was a bloated dude. I was big and chubby and, my face was like this. And, take a look at my older videos and compare it to now and see how much I've lost and how different I look. And it's hilarious that people are like, dude, yeah, you look older, but you actually physically look so much better now than you were back then. And you're right. And
yeah, before he looked like a fat man baby, which nobody has respect for. And now he looks like an aged ghoul who hasn't seen the light of day in a very long time, which no one has respect for. Now, I don't know that that's an upgrade by any means, but maybe someone has more respect for the ghoul-like stance rather than the fat man baby stance. I'm not quite sure.
I should have been doing all
the
this
voices
stuff in my youth,
this.
but instead I just kind of effed around, and now I'm 44, and now finally I'm doing the right stuff. I'm working out, I'm eating healthy, I'm doing the right things that I should have been doing all along. But the problem is it's a lot harder now. When you get older, it's harder to do. Like right now, if I was doing what I'm doing now, when I was in my 20s, my body would be crazy. Like seriously, like I'd be fucking ripped. But
oh yeah, he'd be ripped.
Now, and now I'm doing what 20 years ago my body would have actually adapted to the exercise and the protein and everything, and it would have become
the protein. There's your marketing buzzword for the health of DSP for this segment, the protein. God, if I could go a day in my life as of late without seeing the word or hearing the word fucking protein. Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Very physically fit, but it's harder to do 20 years later.
Just gimmick after gimmick with this fucking loser.
I live with that was my bad choices. And you know what they
Sorry,
say?
I'm being
hindsight
hostile.
is 20/20.
I should chill out.
Would I have done it differently now if I had the choice? Yes, I would have. I would have absolutely eaten healthier and exercised and done the right things back then when I knew it would have basically stuck with me my whole life. But I live with those decisions, right? But I'm happy I'm doing the right things now. Okay? And it is what it is.
All right. It is what it is.
And then you get a moron.
I can't go back in the past and be less ugly, you guys. Therefore, going forward in the future, I will continue to not work on how ugly I am. Sounds good to me, man.
Like this. Well, you just gorged out on Taco Bell last night. No, I didn't. I gorged out on Taco Bell on Monday. That was my...
Dumbass. Go sit in the dunce corner. How dare you not understand that yesterday was not Monday? Fuck you. Therefore, your entire opinion is invalidated. You said the wrong day.
One meal of the day like that.
It's so
else I
fucking
ate
petty.
that day was healthy. Everything I've eaten since has been healthy. That's my one time a week that I eat bad is DSP tries it. So, do you have a point?
Yeah, you ate fucking
I don't think
Taco
you
Bell.
do.
That was the point. Scanning. We're looking. Dead air.
Oh, I don't know about that. Chippewa is saying some YouTubers are now taking their parts of a playthrough and putting it all into one video. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. I don't think the algorithm would favor that. Very rational. They tipped another $2. They said, well, your attitude towards aging.
Oh, it's okay. This clip skipped over it, but there was an entire section where DSP was theorizing on the way that the algorithm would interpret an extended video, multi-hour long video of the entire playthrough, so that you could just watch the whole fucking playthrough in one video and not have to click around or whatever. But anyway, it skipped it. It wasn't that important, but I thought that it was funny, the theorizing of
It's healthy
DSP.
and commendable. However, unfortunately, we live in a very
As if he understands the YouTube algorithm at all whatsoever.
lookist society. Lookist. That's a new word, huh? Lookist. As an entertainer from a business perspective, I think it would help you to improve the way you present yourself to new audiences. Yeah, but I don't care. I'm my own guy. I've always walked to the beat of my own drum. I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit about getting a new audience. Then what are we doing the edited videos for, DSP? Like, this seems like a conflict of interest. We're doing the edited videos to get back into the algorithm, to bring new people into the channel and investigate what DSP gaming really is about. And then when somebody's like, hey, if you're going to do that, you might also want to not look like an ugly fuck because you're kind of off-putting and reprehensible. And his response is, well, I don't really give a shit about that. I don't care. I've always been my own guy and I don't care what other people think. Then why are we trying to get back into the fucking algorithm? In order to do that, to be an entertainer, to draw an audience and make money off of it, you kind of have to care about what other people are saying, at least to some extent, correct? That's just the way that it has to work out. There's no way around that. But we're too good for that. We're better than everybody else. We've never cared about their opinion because they're like an inferior being or something. DSP is clearly the pinnacle of humanity, and everything he says is always correct.
I don't care about trends. I don't care about what fucking kids want to see on the internet. I just don't care. I'm going to make the content I want. I'm going to look how I look, and I don't care about anybody else. So thanks for $2.
So then why fucking make content for anybody else? What is the point then? It's purely to extract money then? If we don't care about the opinion nor the take of anybody, that's the only thing left. But we're not Mr. Money. We're not Mr. Views. I love what I do, you guys. I want to be here and chill with you, but I don't care what you think. Doesn't make any fucking sense. We're scanning again. We're looking for a topic. We have nothing. We're empty-headed. Just nothing of interest in our
Everyone wants me
brain.
to become clavicular? Is that what it is?
Shout
Or
out
giant-
clavicular.
You want me to get rid of all this, so I'd have to go get like liposuction.
I'm surprised DSP even knows who clavicular is, by the way. I definitely not up his alley. Not something I thought that he would be familiar with, but okay. I guess all you got to do is run somebody over in a Cybertruck and all of a sudden DSP knows who you
Or
are.
something to suck this fat out of my face here, because that's all it is. This is just excess fat that accumulated on my face being a fatter dude, and it won't go away. So I'd have to go get like liposuction on the cheeks and facial bones, right? And then I smash my face in, somehow extend. I have to rip my jaw.
DSP is going to be bone smashing.
Square jaw, right?
DSP is going to mog on all the haters when he starts look-smashing and bone smashing. You guys aren't going to be ready. He's going to be a chiseled Greek god after he gets the hammer.
And I'll get implants. I'll get like pectoral implants, because that's the thing. Like, I'm working out, but certain muscles, when you're at my age, it's way harder to get those muscles to really respond than if I had done it 20 years ago. So, like, I'm going to have to pectoral implants.
Full Christian name, you're absolutely correct. I wasn't going to say anything because I thought I was being pedantic, but Full Christian name is saying that it's excess skin that DSP has there on his snort sacks. He doesn't need fucking lipo. He needs a facelift, like a middle-aged woman. That's what he actually needs. But again, he's very early in his looks maxing arc, so I'm not surprised he doesn't know the actual thing that he needs.
So look, he'll have a big buff chest. I'll get butt implant. There you go. I'll get butt implants too. There you go. So I'll walk around with two big ass cheeks.
He's gonna get a
big
BBL.
ass.
BBL
This is
Philly.
hilarious, man.
BBL Philly.
Digbix, that's actually a good point. Here's what Digbix just said. He says, to be fair, if you became attractive and you got more audience members in, they'd just be boring, insufferable, look-obsessed people, not the ideal group for your vibing audience. You're right. You'd have a bunch of people who just want to fucking talk about looks and nonsense and superficial shit, and I don't care about superficial shit. You're right.
I understand the idea of looks being superficial, but to some extent, it is also like how you represent yourself does kind of say something about your character and who you are and what you value. And by not valuing your own health and like outward appearance, I think that's a negative character trait. I think that that's a lack of care and attention that could be expended on your behalf, and I think that's a failure of the person, to put it to give you my final conviction. Okay, that's just another moral failing of DSP, and it's a shame that he's gay. And speaking of being gay, he wants the rest of you to be gay. And that's why he spent like 2 fucking hours yesterday talking about beating his dick, which is kind of a crazy thing to have to say. I didn't want to be gay, but I had to be. I had to be gay for you. This is your fault. I sat through the beginning of the marathon. I sat through the recap of the May 1st burst. And therefore, you must also as well. I'm dragging you into this. This is now against your will.
It better play one of them this time. Oh. A nice big release there. Some pressure has been building up. All right. So now you can see that's one of many. There's like tons of them saved up for new ones for today. Okay. 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 And I got a lot to shout out. All right. I do have a lot to shout out here.
Are you guys not laughing out loud? Are you not rolling on the floor? Are you not rafflecoptering at his jism joke? Is this not doing it for you, Snipe?
So what was I saying? Let me get through what I was saying because I got derailed there. So every day when I turned on my stream, it used to look like this. And it used to have the PS4 dashboard.
Awful visual presentation, by the way. Just
every day when I turned on my stream, it used to look like this.
Just the yellow on yellow makes it very difficult to read. There's not a very high contrast. This is like visuals 101, you know. This is the type of thing that you would look at and immediately understand that it's kind of illegible in some aspects, and maybe like it could have gone, if you would have just put like a black outline around the lettering, it would have kind of made it stand out and just be more legible. You know, that's all he really had to do, but even that is beyond DSP's capability. It's impossible. Despite that being an option in OBS that's readily available. Ignore that.
And it used to have the PS4 dashboard playing. I already was set up to be on the PS4 dashboard, and we would jump right into gameplay on my PS4 pretty much every day. Now, I had a pre-stream where I would talk. I would actually talk on that screen. I wasn't on screen like I am now. I didn't have a scene set up like this. I didn't have a scene set up like this. I didn't have things that I could alternate between. It was all just on one screen. Incredibly primitive, low quality, you know. My camera looked like peach fuzz, like it was on a potato. You know what I mean? It was bad quality stuff.
Peach fuzz coming from the potato. I love the double food usage there. Very cool. But please keep in mind, it's always been the same software. Like, yes, OBS has, of course, gotten better and included new features over the years as, again, technology improves and streaming as an industry changes. OBS obviously gets better, more features. But it didn't have to be that way. DSP only having one scene and an inability to switch between scenes, like all of that was his own doing because he was A, unfamiliar with the software itself, and B, had the worst physical setup of peripherals and screens that has ever graced humanity, basically. That's all within his own doing. This was not some failure on behalf of the world up to that point to allow him to have these features or anything. Completely asinine nonsense.
To be honest, you know, I know that I wasn't top of the line. I was barely getting by. You know, my capture device was primitive and only I think it was only 720p at that time and stuff like that.
Yeah, primitive. HD 720p. Super primitive. It's not in 4K. So this is basically for fucking cavemen. This belongs in the age of antiquity. I think Socrates was watching things in fucking 720p, you guys. Completely outdated. This is why I need a second living room. My TV only comes in at fucking 720.
So,
That is kind
since
of
everything
egregious.
was all on one
So TV
screen,
in 720.
that's
What
why there
year
was
is it?
potential for there to be an error. Like today, nothing would ever show up on screen accidentally because it's all set up on different screens and stuff. Like when I'm on this screen, okay, you can't see anything. It's just all that's on there is the slideshow. The camera's not even on that screen. You know what I'm saying? But back then, I didn't plan ahead. I didn't have a good setup. So everything was on that one screen. And when it,
But the not planning ahead was that's his fault. This is again a failing on his behalf, and we're just kind of brushing over it and acting as though we had nothing to do with it. It's insane to me. Like we're having a celebration about our own failings and our own, inability to think ahead. That's insane to me. What an odd thing to celebrate.
ended up happening, if you remember, was there was a day when I turned on that dashboard, had the PS4 dashboard going, okay, and I happened to be doing something right here. Of course, it wasn't this chair, it wasn't this camera, it wasn't this desk, and all this equipment is different. The only thing that's the same is the room, okay? But I just happened to be doing something on camera that I didn't realize the camera was on.
It's on the whole
I
time,
want to
huh?
clarify, because people have talked about this for years and years and years, and so much lore has built up around it, and so much, quite frankly, misinformation.
There we go again. Misinformation. Like he's the fucking president of the United States. He's got an entire media arm against him or whatever the fuck kind of narrative we're pushing. Misinformation is such an odd word to use about people misrepresenting the time you jerked off. What a sense of grandiosity we're giving it.
The situation. First of all, I was only streaming on YouTube. This was not when I was on Twitch. I was only exclusively streaming on YouTube at the time. Okay? And some people have said, oh, top 10 stream fails on Twitch and this and that, and it's all bullshit. Like, people were making videos and stuff about it.
How is that bullshit? Top 10 stream fails. Here's honestly probably a lot of people jerking off on stream. How is that misrepresentation? How is that misinformation? How is that bullshit? That's objectively what happened. He cranked it.
It was all misinformation and wrong. They got it all wrong.
They got it all wrong. I was scratching my leg, dude.
To a wide audience whatsoever. It was the pre-stream. With the pre-stream, I used to turn on the stream and have it running for like a half an hour, just running that, okay? And essentially, what would happen is, eventually I would talk over that screen for like a half an hour, and then we would jump into gameplay. So not a lot of people were on my pre-stream. I mean, no exaggeration.
But it was broadcast to the world. I don't think that he understands that, like, he's arguing that it wasn't broadcast to a large audience, that because, like, there were so few people on the actual live stream itself, it therefore wasn't broadcast to the entire world, for the entire public to watch. Literally, if they wanted to, like, all 7 billion people could have fucking seen DSP jerking at it if they wanted to. That's what that statement actually means. Not the actual live viewers that were there. And that's completely, not taking into account the millions and millions of people that saw it afterwards everywhere else. So, where, again, however DSP's narrative needs to be painted is how the facts will move.
There was probably like 20, 30 people that were on the stream at that point, because I hadn't started talking yet or anything, so no one knew that I was there and that they should pay attention. It was just people basically kind of sitting in a waiting line, waiting to come into the auditorium to see the show. Does that make sense?
Yes, the auditorium to see the show. Oh, yes. DSP could definitely fill an auditorium. I mean, you guys seen his convention panels that were obviously standing room only when there's like 50 people in there and the room seats 200? Don't worry about it. Don't look at it.
So the misinformation that, oh, DSP, he broadcast the fappening in front of thousands of small children is all fake.
We've also co-opted the term fappening here. The fappening was, at least this is the way that I would recall it, and the way that I think the culture would call it. Shout out the culture. The fappening was when all of those iClouds got leaked and all those celebrities had their nudes leaked onto the internet, and you could go and find those on various forums and websites and whatnot. DSP's not a part of that group whatsoever. That's a completely different context to use this terminology in.
It was
Very
like
odd.
20, 30 people who were actually there.
I don't know why he would try and shoehorn that into his own narrative.
Who stalk me. So no exaggeration, even that, the pre-stream just rolling, people would actually record it. They weren't rebroadcasting it back then, for the record. Today I have live restreamers who restream everything that I do. They weren't doing that back then, but they would record and archive all of my content just in case something happened that they saw was a moment that they wanted to edit and try to get views off of. So in this case, there was someone who actually recorded it, and that's how it got archived. Okay? So what ended up happening was my camera turned on. And by the way, is my microphone working right here? It is, right? You can hear me? Okay.
Also, the
So
camera just turned on. That's the vocabulary we're using. The camera turned on. Not I turned on the camera. Not I unhid it on the stream. Not that it was already open because of the... My camera turned on. Almost as, yes, as though it was by itself, Penitent Sin. The camera just did it. It was predestined. It was foretold in the annals of history that DSP would just so happen to have the camera turn on. As though it was destiny.
this is what happened.
That's the fucking narrative.
My camera was up here in the corner, and it was on accidentally. I had forgotten to turn the camera off the night before on the previous stream.
Right, so then the camera didn't just turn on. All right, so there's retcon number 1 debunked instantly. How cool.
I didn't
Great.
think about that or know that. I didn't even check the stream. Okay, I just turned it on, and then I went about my business with the camera on in the corner like this. Okay, so here's the thing. There was... Oh, by the way, did I mute the sound? Or maybe I didn't. Hold on. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's not playing the PS4 theme, right? No, I turned that off. Okay. So, FYI, okay, there was no sound whatsoever. So there was no actual sound effects. There was no music. There was nothing. It was just the PS4 dashboard theme was playing. So actually, it was like this.
There's not going to be music on this.
This is actually what it was like, okay? Now,
Sorry, you guys don't get to hear the very robust and meaningful PS4 music. I know you wanted to relive the moment. Those two things are obviously synonymous in your head, but it has been removed from the clip. I'm sorry.
obviously my camera didn't look this good, and I didn't have a background removal tool or whatever. So the camera was on accidentally just like this. And normally people would just be waiting and there'd be no camera, and this would be like 30, 40 minutes of just PS4 dashboard. Then I would talk, but there'd be no camera. You just hear me talking to you like this.
Why are we
So literally, this is
relitigating
what my
this?
old streams used to look like 10 years
Because this is objectively the most important thing that's ever happened at DSP. This is the thing that he's most known for. This is the most notable thing, event, topic that could ever have come to DSP. And I don't use come as a double.
ago.
It's,
Okay.
it's not a play.
But I accidentally had the camera on. And so what people saw was me having a little happy accident, inadvertently streaming it in front of like 30 people on YouTube. There was no sound. You didn't see what I was looking at. All you saw was what you're seeing right now, like waist up. And by the way, the camera was off.
Waist up, as you can clearly see on his camera, that it is definitely tits up. So... we can't even accurately fucking describe the stream we're putting on right now, but you want me to believe the narrative that you're painting from like a fucking decade ago. Are we? This is the same shit when the denim banana thing. This is he can't accurately tell you what he meant to say 5 fucking minutes ago. He could not tell you what accurately happened, but he wants you to believe that he knew what he meant to say and didn't say a fucking decade ago. That's the exact same mentality. It's completely fucking delusional. This is a guy who genuinely thinks that he can rewrite history live in front of you and it will make sense, he promises.
There was no lights on in the room, so it was very dark, very blurry, very awful, okay? But all you ever saw was this and my O face, essentially. That's it. Nothing else. So anything else you've heard is a complete lie, all right? There was no accidental exposure. There was no sound effects with it. You didn't hear anything, nothing. It was just silence and this really bad quality camera, all right? That's it. That's the truth of the matter. It lasted, what, a minute, 2 minutes? And then when I realized what was going on, because I turned and I looked and I saw the chat, and the chat was reacting and saying, what the hell was he doing? And then I looked at, and my reaction was this, the camera was on the whole time, huh? And then basically I just went forward and pretended like none of it happened.
It makes me so sad that we never put the hello into the quote when we do the cameras on the whole time. I think that might be arguably the funniest moment of the whole thing. It's not his O-face. It's the Rock back and forth, like, trying to play oblivious hello. That's my favorite part, personally.
All right, for the rest of my stream. What was I streaming that day? The Neo demo. So Neo...
Also, yeah, he did not go on as though he was doing nothing. We tried the, scratching my leg lie. We tried to get out of it the best that we can, and that's going to be relevant later, because we're going to paint this as a super positive thing that DSP did. Yeah, it's positive that he jerked his shit live. and that he obviously played into it to the best of his ability, and that's why he's still successful to this day. So please keep in mind, we're lying.
One, NIOH, that's the game from Bandai Namco, I believe. Or is it Tecmo? I forget who made it. But it's the Souls-like game, okay? So I was playing this
Dark Souls
demo of the game that day, and I want you to think about this. I go from this incredibly...
My team load or no load? Great question. I'm going to go team no load.
Embarrassing moment.
I don't know what my stance has been in the past. I might be a flip-flopper on this. Shout out all my flip-flop enjoyers.
I completely play it off like it never happened. I ignore anyone talking about it in the chat and end up having people banned for talking about it. And I'm playing this insanely, cripplingly difficult game, pretending like nothing happened.
Quantum load.
Well, like I'm actually going through, I'm dying a lot.
Didn't even know that was a possibility.
Right? That's pretty crazy. To think that I just went right forward with it and just pretended like it never happened for that one stream. Okay.
Right.
Now,
yeah, it is kind of crazy that DSP was so shameless and, you know, I don't know any other way to put it other than shameless, really, that he was so unaffected by the fact that everyone else just seen him jerk off live on the internet. Again, I think this is like a character failing. I think anybody with like self-respect or a care for really anything going on in their personal life would have just logged off indefinitely, and I think that would have been the better thing to do. But not DSP. He again is completely shameless.
Obviously, we all knew that wasn't going to fly. How are you going to pretend like that didn't happen? Because, like I said,
Atlas seems like a Croc kind of guy. No, never owned Crocs, will never own Crocs. My stance on Crocs has remained, I do know my stance on Crocs has remained the same since kindergarten, in that we bullied kids for Crocs in kindergarten or first grade or whatever the fuck they hit the scene. Absolutely berated and belittled them live on the playground, and they did cry. And because I've done that, I will never be able to wear Crocs, or that does make me a flip-flopper. And because I know that this is the case, I could never. I don't care how much how nice the shoes could be. They could be the most comfortable thing on the planet. I will never go back on this. I said what I said and I meant it.
And uploaded it a million places. It became a meme. It was going viral within like a few hours of it happening. It was going viral all over the internet. So the question was, how was I going to handle it, right? So, hold on one second. Let's get back to this.
Yeah, I'm a slides enjoyer. It's different than flip-flops.
So, knowing that it was going to be all over the internet, all right, there was a couple ways that I could handle it. Number one, I could just continue to play it off like it never happened, as if it was like a moment in time that just, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, obviously, that was going to take an insane amount of ridiculous ignoring and effort. You knew that everyone was always going to pester me about it forever, right? So I had a feeling that probably wasn't going to work. Just seeing that very first stream where basically I was trying to like moderate and make it so that, no one talks about it. It was impossible. Like, it was...
So wait, then we're going back on the narrative that we've been pushing this entire time, that we tried to play it off and pretend that it didn't happen, and that we tried to move on positively, and we handled it really well, but that first stream we were trying to moderate and sweep everything under the rug, which he's going to deny later and say, and double down on the fact that he tried to lean into it or whatever, and obviously, again, very positive.
I'm going to make the rest of my life a living hell, okay? Option number two, I could just completely quit streaming. Just give up. Say, forget it. It's not worth it. It's going to be so much embarrassment and so many people making fun of me forever that I quit and I'll just go get a 9-to-5 job. The problem was that really wasn't an option for me. At that point, I had just moved across the country from Connecticut on the east coast of the United States to Washington State on the Pacific Northwestern part of the United States. The move cost me an insane amount of money that put me into debt. All right? There was no way I was going to quit YouTube as a full-time YouTuber and go get a 9-to-5 job that was going to pay as much as I was making. I was going to end up basically losing everything if I quit YouTube. So I was
he's going to be like, boss man, he's going to lose it all.
Okay. So I ended up doing option 3, which was basically owning up to it, memeing about it, laughing about it.
There's always 3 paths in front of DSP. There's never a smaller amount than 3 paths. And he always picks the 3rd path. It's so odd to me. Always the 3rd. Why can't the path we take be the first one? Why can't there be 3 paths and we take option number 1?
And basically making fun of myself for quite some time, which is exactly what I did. I actually changed my Twitter avatar, because it was still Twitter back then, to the meme of Prince Adam from Masters of the Universe with the rainbow background, and he's doing his face, oh, like that.
Cringe.
I kept joking about it. I remember I tweeted like Keemstar and Drama Alert about it in a joking way, because they had brought it up.
That's mad gay, by the way. Look, this might be controversial, but controversial? Who am I, DSP? This might be controversial, but I think if you're tweeting at other men about you beating off, you're gay. I don't know that there's another way that you could put it, in all honesty. I don't know in what context it is okay to tweet at other men about beating off, but the only way I could put it is that you're gay, which is cool, I guess, if that's what you want to be. It's not for me, but I don't know any other way to call it.
So there was a whole bunch of people talking about it, and I just kept laughing about it and making fun of it. And momentarily, some people were covering it as, this is really bad for Phil, but because of the way that I handled it.
One who waits for the 2
How can
months,
you kill a god?
confirming my
As
stance.
grand and intoxicating
Does sound
innocence.
kind of gay. Thank you for the confirmation. I'm not the only one in this boat.
Because I laughed
Yeah, nuclear take. My bad, guys. My
along
bad.
with it because I memed about it. It ended up not being so bad. Now, yes, here's the thing. All right. That by far was the biggest mistake I ever made. Okay. And to this day, 10 years later, through all the trials and tribulations I've been through, the ups and downs and all the mistakes, I've been through a bankruptcy. I spent money on mobile games. I begged, okay? All the horrible things that people talk about that I've done on the internet. By far, that moment, the fappening 10 years ago, was still the most embarrassing moment that I've ever gone through. And to be honest with you, I think it will likely be the most embarrassing moment that I've ever had in my life. And I just...
It really is kind of insane. It is kind of insane that there is something more embarrassing than filing for bankruptcy as a streamer. Look, I know a lot of businesses in real life file for bankruptcy, and it's part of the big business strategy. There's big money to be made in filing for bankruptcy, or big money not to spend, I suppose. But filing for bankruptcy as a full-time streamer is crazy, and it's even crazier that that's not the most embarrassing thing about his life. And I would struggle to say that it is more, even though it is completely egregious and unacceptable.
kind of approached it like that.
Yeah, Man Ruler saying he'd argue bankruptcy is more embarrassing. I couldn't even imagine you showing my face on the internet after beating off in front of everybody. So I guess if I filed for bankruptcy, I would still talk to people. If I got caught beating off, I probably wouldn't.
Saying, listen, I already went through the worst,
Different
most
strokes.
embarrassing thing ever. I survived it. I came out the other end of it. I mean, here I am a decade later, right? I'm happily married. I am a successful full-time live streamer, partnered both on YouTube and on Kick.
Mm-hmm.
I make bank streaming on both sites every single day. I love what I do because I get to game for a living and have a great time with an awesome interactive audience. Okay? I have dramatically improved my life situation in the last several years. Number one, as you can see, my setup and everything has dramatically improved for the better. I'm able to play any game I want on a high-end gaming PC with all this equipment around me that looks amazing, that plays amazing. Everything has just been dramatically improved for me. Okay?
Okay.
But in addition to that, my personal life has gotten so much better. Like I said, I have a really good relationship off stream with my wife. I'm healthy. I've lost so much weight. I'm exercising at 44 years old.
Congratulations, but what does this have to do with jerking it? Not that I want that to be the topic, but this is the focal point of the goddamn event today. That's what we were just discussing. And now all of a sudden we're talking about how successful we are, how our marriage is great.
I have a better physique now than I had since my early 20s. Okay? So everything for the last several years has been going so good for me that I look back now at that moment 10 years ago, and I'm like, man, that was just certainly one of the most, if not the most embarrassing thing that will ever happen to me in my life. But my God, have I improved since then?
You know what? There might be something more embarrassing than DSP beating off on stream. And that is the fact that he, and I'm going to point this out, it'll be the umpteenth time that I've pointed it out. He let the detractors determine whether or not he could have children. That actually might be the most pathetic and embarrassing thing to ever have happened to somebody. They let the internet determine whether or not they have kids is crazy. I actually struggle to think of anybody that has ever even admitted to something like that. Many of people have beaten off on stream. Many of them have flicked their bean or whatever you want to call it. But I don't know any other streamer that has confirmed that the online harassment is the reason that they don't have children. That is so sad. If it were anybody other than DSP, you'd feel bad.
Everything is just so much better. Everything is, people actually coming by and enjoying my content. I was the laughing stock for a while, but things have definitely flipped for me in a positive
Wingo
way.
said that
And the
before.
truth
Well,
is,
he's
you're
just as
never going
pathetic,
to
so.
please everyone, right? Like they say, you can please some of the people all of the time, all the people some of the time, but you just can't please everyone all the time. I know that I'm always going to have critics. I'm always going to have detractors, and I'm always going to have people who say awful things about me. It's just an inevitable thing. When you're a public figure, when you're someone who has a face to the internet, and that's how you make your living, you're always going to have that. And there's nothing you can do about it. But as long as you're happy with yourself, you're healthy, and you're having a good time, who cares what everyone else says, right? To this day, people still come by and bring up the fappening from 10 years ago.
What he just said is a very bad way to live your life, though. That's a very destructive mentality to have. As long as I'm happy, as long as I'm healthy and I enjoy what I'm doing, what other people think, the effect that I have on humanity or my community or whatever, like there's nothing larger than DSP in this instance. This is a very narcissistic, self-centered mindset that actually benefits nobody other than DSP. Just genuinely. I think it speaks a lot to the kind of life that DSP lives. Like you can tell by the things that he cares about, the things that he values, that this is genuinely his mindset. And it's sad. It's embarrassing. No grown man should think this way. I don't think it's not it's not a benefit to anybody else, just himself. It's hedonistic. It's degenerate. It's again embarrassing. It's it's conceited. Thank you, Trucker, who saw ALTP. Oh, what a lucky guy. Thank you for the 2. Saying ALT exposed himself to me. Does that make him gay? Yes. And next time ALT contacts me, I'll let him know as much in case he was unsure that he did it. I'll let him know that he is, in fact, gay.
To which I'm
Thank you for letting me know.
Happened.
I'll be happy to break the news to him.
I don't care because I'm here 10 years later, a survivor. I'm way out of that toxic part of my life, and things are so much better. Okay? That's my attitude. Now, what I'd like to do is some shout outs. And then what we'll do is we will actually.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to break it to Chew and the kids, too. Oh, no.
People are asking questions. People want specifics. I'm down for that. Let's talk about it today and get it out of the way. There is so much misinformation. For example, this guy says, you did not handle it that way. You asked Machinima to DMCA all the clips. Completely and utterly false. That is literal. What is he doing?
Yeah, did he just call himself a survivor? My bad. I was reading chat. If he used the word survivor, that's fucking absurd.
Specifics. I'm down for that. Let's talk about it today and get it out of the way. There is so much misinformation. For example,
I didn't go back far enough. Fuck it. Who cares?
You did not handle it that way. You asked Machinima to DMCA all the clips. Completely and utterly false. That is literal. What is he doing? Well, that's a hell of a super sticker. How'd you find that one?
Anyway.
Thank
you. Let's go.
That's complete misinformation. That never actually happened. Oh, by the way, it looks like my chat has frozen. My YouTube chat. Let me try to. Oh, yeah, my YouTube chat did freeze. I just reloaded it. So, no. Well, here's what happened. I'll clear that up because I want to do all these shout outs. All right. Oh.
Dude, it's actually so embarrassing the way he fucking soys out for the animations that he didn't make and has just completely stolen or had somebody else make. So fucking annoying, dude. And I'm glad the audio isn't on any of these either. They were all removed by the music removal tool because one of them, I'm not quite sure which one it is as an audio style listener. I listened to this while I was cutting the grass yesterday. One of them is so fucking loud. It really is akin to the fat motherfucker breathing into the Xbox Live microphone that we had for the holiday season. It was supposed to be like a windstorm or something. It was so fucking loud. And of course, way too long.
Oh! Now we're starting to get some animations. All right. Okay. So that is actually one of the big misconceptions that we had back then is that people were like, oh, people were posting up the moment, the fappening, and they were getting copyright takedowns on YouTube. That had nothing to do with me. What ended up happening was back then, if you don't know, I was partnered with Machinima. They were my partner network on YouTube. That's how I was able to monetize my content through YouTube. Okay.
He was still being scammed, by the way. I like that we never actually admit to that when we talk about Machinima. We never actually acknowledge that by the time that this happened in 2016, that being on Machinima was basically just getting scammed and receiving a fraction of the advertisement money that he would have received otherwise. But obviously we moved past that. We won't acknowledge that he was being played.
Out without even speaking to me. Went out of their way to start doing stuff like that without my permission. Now, I think that's underhanded and messed up because who's going to get the flack for that? Me. I'm the one who's actually going to take the negative attention.
one
They're a big corporation.
who beat
They
off
don't
on
care.
stream.
But I'm the one who gets yelled at, right?
Me.
So what happened was they contacted me, and I've shown the emails before. I did a special over on my...
Also, like, but they would also receive flack from not taking it down. I can't imagine that Machinima as a company really wanted one of their partners, one of their longest standing partners, to actively be out here on YouTube and having a bunch of videos of them cranking their shit to just be posted everywhere. Like, that seems like something that maybe Machinima could have an issue with as far as like their relationship with YouTube as a business. I don't think that it's completely absurd that they would start removing that when it was so intertwined with them as a long-standing Machinima style partner.
ESP Reacts channel a couple years ago, where I went through my history with Machinima and how they definitely mishandled things with me. And that was one of the times when they decided, oh, we're going to take matters into our own hands, and because you're our partner, we want to hide this. So they actually started taking down people who were reposting the clip. I never said to do that. I want you to think about this. If I had absolutely admitted publicly that all this happened, if I was joking about it, if I changed my Twitter avatar to be Prince Adam with his O face and all of that, why on earth would I tell Machinima to DMCA claim people talking about it and take it down? I never did.
Because you could be in more trouble if it was still up, right? Because then you wouldn't be able to spin the narrative if everybody had the proof and evidence of it. I mean, there's a million reasons under the sun, a lot of underhanded, backroom style reasons that we could want this to be the case. I don't understand how he could find it so absurd that there would be no advantage for this to be the case. Again, it's short-sighted, and I think it's just DSP playing ignorant to what the truth of the situation really was.
They actually emailed me after the fact, like a day or two after it happened, and said, so we're just checking to see that you're okay, and just so you know, we're starting to take down videos.
It's kind of like if Logan Paul was the one that went to that forest, right? Logan Paul could probably make jokes about going to that forest and how it was really uncouth for him to show the things that he's shown, and his reaction to it was not ideal. He could probably still make those jokes, but it becomes a different story if that video was still up and you could see it live and in the flesh, all of the things that he was discussing. It would also make it far harder for him to lie and repaint the situation as more of a positive that he did. That's kind of the thought process there.
I was like, whoa.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist. I'm just a skeleton.
You know, like, I can't stop you. You're my partner network. You know, I can't stop you as a company from doing it because technically they owned the rights to my videos. So they had the right to copyright claim people if they wanted to, because legally I had a contract where they could do that. But I didn't agree with that. So here they are hitting people, and I start getting negative responses from the internet. Why are you taking people down? I'm not doing any of that. And I even showed later, years later, my whole copyright page, and where it shows what videos you've claimed. I never claimed any of those videos. That was all Machinima doing it through their network page, not me. Okay.
Okay, but this is still the company that he's partnered with in a third party kind of way. He is still technically responsible because, eventually down the logical line, he's the grown adult that decided to partner with them. This was an action that he made that inevitably led to these copyright claims and these takedowns. Ultimately, when you follow the trail all the way down, it's still DSP's fault. He's just too stupid to understand the consequences of his own actions if they're that far separated, that far removed. It's Jesus Christ. It's a simpleton's mindset is what I'm trying to get at.
All right. Thank you, Adrian. Here we go. Let's do some frog flexing. Hell yeah. And maybe we'll do some left arm flexing today too, but I have to figure out a camera angle to do it. It's not very
actually like
angle.
A little kid over here. Holy
some left
shit.
arm flexing as well for you. There we go. Okay. So we got a whole bunch of stuff to shout out. Let's do shout outs, and then we can get more into the details of everything. Okay, let me shout out the kicks first because those delete and disappear. So Based Alpha Real did 500 kicks. He says, you won the hearts of millions that day, Phil. Oh yeah, millions. I know. I'm not even kidding. Millions of people saw it. 100%.
Oh, so it was broadcast to a worldwide audience, and then tons of people have seen it. So we just retconned our retcon, saying that nobody saw it, nobody was there, and it didn't matter because there was only 30 people watching the pre-stream. Now millions of people did actually see it, and a large portion of them could have been children. All right, cool. Don't know why we would admit to that, given the narrative we tried to paint, but here we are anyway.
It was going front page virally on websites and news sites and meme sites, and everywhere it was posted. It was just absolutely all over the internet. Seriously, it was out of control. Okay? Thank you to Bilbo Swaggins for 500 kicks. He says, LTG treats every L like a conspiracy. Since admitting to skill issues would require accountability, he could learn from DSP. Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much for that.
Wow, that's really
Bilbo
high-pitched.
Swaggins.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, since when I fessed up to it,
30 people saw it live. It's the detractors' fault that millions of people saw it. No, but again, this is that like consequences down the line thing. It was DSP's actions that ultimately made this content exist in the first place, and was the starting point of the entire event. Ultimately, all of it does have to come down onto him eventually. He 100% is the only person that could have stopped him jerking off on stream from happening. Everything else is cope.
and I saw that the internet actually wasn't really upset. They were just laughing at me, but it wasn't like a big deal. I was like, dude,
I know,
I'm
Wave
happy
Man.
that
I know you're
admitted it.
just arguing
You know what I'm saying?
like DSP.
Like if I tried to lie about it and
get
hide it, that would have been so much more stressful. And quite frankly, I think it would have been career ending. At that point, I had been a creator for 8 years. I wasn't a full-time live streamer like I am today. The whole next 10 years wouldn't have been possible if I spent the 10 years trying to sweep stuff under the rug, you know?
He was already sweeping too much other shit under the rug. I mean, we were worried about WWE champions. We were worried about our bankruptcy. We were worried about Liana. We were worried about Kat and how fat she is. We were worried about all sorts of fucking things. We didn't have time to sweep jerking off under the rug. There was too much shit under the rug. People were going to start calling out, what's the lumps here, buddy?
So I'm very happy that I handled it the way that I did. It was a critical career-defining moment. And the fact that I handled it the way that I did, I think, allowed me to
career-defining
on.
moment.
If I had lied and tried to hide it, I think it would have been the end of everything. Okay? Just being honest.
Is there anybody else that can say that jerking is their critical, clear-defining career moment? I guess people in the adult film industry. Never mind. DSP is in a crowd of his own, I suppose.
From
he's an adult
Netterhead, I
entertainer.
received
He's
a
43,
$25.66 tip. I have no idea what the significance of that amount is, but I definitely appreciate that. Let me get my tip animations out here and play you one. But there is no message attached to it. It's just $25.66 from Netterhead. Thank you, Netterhead, for the generous tip.
Pee Wee Herman is another individual whose career-defining moment was jerking it. You are correct. My question has been answered with a real and authentic answer. Thank you. And DSP is a big Pee Wee Herman fan from back in the day. He's an OG Herman fan.
Okay.
All right, hurry up, DSP.
We got a bunch of super chats to shout out. Let's shout all of these out. So we have... Wow, I have to go back like a half an hour. Holy shit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rich had done the Canadian $10 super chat asking, what was I watching? I don't know. Like, I was probably just watching a random website that,
website.
It wasn't anything, that I saved up or special. It's
Brother doesn't even have a go-to website. He's such a fiend. He's such a degenerate that he'll just click on any website that's got that word in it. It doesn't matter whether they cater to a specific type of content. He has no taste nor preference. Just literally any degeneracy, throw it on the screen. Sounds good to me, dude.
so weird because people ask me that.
It's just not the narrative you want to paint, bro. It's just not. Like, you can manage the details here, and he paints the worst fucking picture.
Question over the years. And
yeah, he was watching wrestling, changed my mind. Like, that's the kind of thing that you leave it open to.
I jokingly say, oh, well, you see, whenever that I would do that, I would have all this giant elaborate stuff planned. So I would have candles that I would light throughout my office, right? And I would rub body lotion and oils on my body, and then
Yeah,
I would
this
get
bit is so cringe,
aromatherapy
too.
going,
It
and then
has
I
been
would get
for
into
years.
it with a special video set. No, didn't do that. It was just a spur of the moment thing. All right, it wasn't intentional. That everything was going to be made public. It wasn't, planned out or anything. It was just a quick one.
Just a quick one.
Just before.
But please keep this in mind. Not to sound like Porky Pig there, but if you ever, like, let's say you crashed your car or had something really unfortunate happen to you and like a certain song is playing, you might remember the song and you might correlate the two in your brain because it was such a remarkable thing that happened. It put such a damper on your day. You're going to remember a car accident if they're bad enough. DSP's defining career moment is jerking off, and he can't even remember the video that he watched. There was no correlation in his brain between the two. That's how unfazed and unbothered, how shameless he was, even in the moment. He couldn't even remember the fucking video that he was watching during the pinnacle of his fucking career, jerking off. I think that just, again, goes to say something about DSP, dude.
My work day. So nothing special, okay? I don't remember.
You guys are saying he definitely remembers. Well, unfortunately, I can only go based off of the narrative that is being painted in front of me by the guy in the current day, and I can only go off of the information that I'm being presented. I don't want to be a detractor with conspiracy theories or anything. So this is what I'm left to believe. This is actually who I have to think that DSP is if I fucking listen to what he's saying.
What I watched. Jeffrey, whoa, supportive support with a gifted sub over on Kick. Thank you for that. Let's actually get that on the leaderboard now so I don't forget. Because if I don't do it now, I'll probably forget. There we go. Thank you for that. So far, everyone's just gifted one sub, right? So that's the top one. Okay, look at that. Look at that animation. Jeffrey did a $5 super chat. He says, you're finally playing into the meme. Well done. You can't reverse it, capitalize off of it, turn lemons into lemonade. Well, here's the thing.
Put the comeback in.
It's 10
You can
years
reverse
later,
it.
All right? And I'm good. I'm happy. I'm successful. You understand? Like, I'm having a good time with life. Everything's good. So therefore, I don't care. We could joke about it, but the thing is, it's not the end-all, be-all of me. It doesn't define me. Is it my most embarrassing moment? Yes. And it's also something that I moved past a very long time ago, and I don't have a problem discussing, but at the same time, I don't want to discuss it every moment because the future is way more interesting than something that happened 10 years ago.
And this might be one of my least favorite DSP defenses for anything, including this, by the way. The idea that now, because we're more successful, because we have a higher, monetary status, the number in our bank account is bigger, or we have more Hogans, or however he wants to quantify success. It's always monetary. I'm just unsure as to where the value lies. Because we have more monetary value, now we're allowed to laugh at things. Now we're allowed to look back at them and acknowledge that they are kind of funny, that we did have some sort of failing here, whether it be, a physical failing or a moral failing. Now we can look back and laugh and be joyous because we have more money. It's just such a shitty way to be. It's so transparent that the only thing that he values is money when he says things like this, and I don't know how he can be so open about it like this and not understand exactly what he's saying, or the message that he's kind of relaying in the words that he uses. Thank you, Mashing Buttons, for the 5, saying you can't find authentic Italian East Coast style pornography in Washington State. Also, hot take, he was actually watching clips of himself. I don't even want to think about that. That's freakery. That's, again, degenerate. I did see somebody in chat saying that it's odd that he's, it was Link saying he's always been awkwardly relieved that you couldn't hear anything. And that definitely indicates that it's degenerate shit. And I have to subscribe to that as well, unfortunately. He does kind of always mention it that way. And he's very particular about people not hearing it. So, ew. Thank you for the 5, Mashing Buttons. And this old nobody for 5 saying, my Theo theory is since that he got caught, it's why he flips out with female characters being attractive in games. It's not because of Cat. Well, and that kind of, speaking of Cat, kind of goes into the thing that I was just talking about hating the defense of now that I'm successful, we could talk about this, because at one point, the reason he didn't want to address beating off, the reason that he, Brazilian fart style, shut up in my chat, stop it. The reason that he didn't want to address beating off and people talking about it all the time is because apparently it hurt Kat. She was genuinely emotionally distraught over people discussing this anywhere on the internet. She was crying over it even. That's what we were telling people. She was crying over this. But now looking back, now that we have more money, I guess her tears are irrelevant. Her emotional distress means nothing to him now that he's reached a certain amount of money. That's, again, the narrative that he has painted, and I must believe, as a true and authentic DSP enjoyer. It's insane.
Okay, just being honest.
Thank
I feel
you,
like everything that is happening
for
and is
5.
moving forward is way more interesting than stuff that happened over a decade ago at this point. Because now, guess what? It has been over a decade ago. All right, cool. Skyjogger did a $5 super chat. Being a new fan, I'm not aware of the situation. I thought that this was just hype for Mega Man. I'm glad that you're rolling with this. Yeah.
This guy's fucking LARPing. There's no way anybody watches DSP and doesn't know. I genuinely find that impossible to believe in current day. With all of the information that the access, within access by your fingertips,
no worries. And again, it is Mega Man today. That is what we were doing. We were playing classic Mega Man all day long. We're going to try to finish 8, 9, and 10. We're halfway through 8, and then we're going to be playing 9 and 10. And hopefully we're going to finish this all up today. It'd be great to finish all the classic Mega Mans today. I don't know if we will. There's also going to be food and booze and fun stuff happening today. I haven't drank anything yet. Like I said, for a $100 super chat or a $100 tip, there's a very special animation that will play, and I'll take a shot, but I'll probably end up having some shots later anyway. All right? Folt Jam did a $2 super chat. He says, unblock Rich so he can send a meaningful super chat. No, I'm not unblocking Rich. He's a piece of shit. He's a waste of everyone's time, and I don't care about him. See, because here's the difference. Sounds good to me, dude.
Based DSP take of the day. There you have it. He's finally told the truth. He's finally said an objective opinion that is honest and real.
All right. For me, it's my most embarrassing moment. I can celebrate it. I can laugh at it. I can have fun with it. For someone else who for a decade has tried to make that the focal point of their content because their content fucking sucks, so they think that making fun of someone else's embarrassing moment is content, just shows what a pathetic, miserable waste of life they are.
So, I mean, it is content, though. Just realistically, it is content. It is funny. People do tune in to watch it. It does fill in the hours. We're doing it right now.
He's never getting unbanned. I know that's what he wants. He thinks that today is like his birthday. And will he get his birthday present of coming on my stream? No. You want to be a part of it? Here's what you do. You look at the stupid fucking tattoo on your arm that you put on there, you miserable fucking wretch, and you stare at your failure for the rest of your life. That's what you can do today.
But
okay.
How fun and meaningful and positive.
F for Fake did a $5 super chat and says, congrats on the anniversary of flogging the snake, greasing the pole, shaking hands with the milkman, etc. Yes, all of the euphemisms that everyone uses. Indeed. Thank you for $5. Let's see. Soul at 2 a.m. did a $5 super chat. And he says,
by the way, this is really no different than like a girl on like OnlyFans or a cam site being paid retroactively for flicking her bean a few years ago. Like imagine people tuned in and were like, hey girl, I loved that video you did in 2016. I've been cranking it to it ever since. Here's a $5. W video, right? That's what DSP's doing right now. That is the circumstances that he's set up around himself on May 1st this year. We set up an entire marathon so that he could retroactively talk about and retcon beating off and then get paid for it. Insane money moves, I guess. It could never be me. I have a little more humility than that, I suppose. But
don't make... I haven't heard of this one.
A former corn star turned Twitch streamer. Yeah, a lot of them do that. I believe Adriana Chechik like went and fucking broke her tailbone at a TwitchCon or something, and is like a relatively popular streamer on the former game streaming site Twitch. Now we just look at titties on there. I say we as the royal we. I would never.
I've never heard that one before. An endangered species. That's the first one I've heard that one. All right. Well, thanks for $5 there. Soul at 2 a.m. The trouser trout. Let's see.
Yeah, Adriana Chechik is pregnant.
Turismo did a $5 super chat. He says, Bart? I don't even know what this is. Bart? Review Tech USA, eat my burst shorts, fart, fart, fart. I have no fucking idea what the hell that
Why
means.
did we
It sounds
read that?
like crazy ramblings of an insane person.
This guy legitimately saw the word fart, fart, fart in a sentence and decided to read it anyway. When his common MO is just to ignore things that are stupid. Supposedly in his super chats. But fart, fart, fart made the cut. How insane.
But thanks for $5. I have no idea what any of that means. Soul at 2 a.m. did another $5 super chat. How'd the conversation with Machinima go after the incident? Well, that's the thing. There was never a conversation. What ended up happening was I handled it all on my end by myself, okay? There was never a conversation. And then they emailed me, like my partner manager emailed me like 2-3 days later, and they said, so we just want to check in and see how you're doing after all of that. We're well aware of what's going on. And just so you know, we've already begun taking action on videos and stuff. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You did what? Like, you never even talked?
No, I wanted everybody to see it. I wanted everybody in the world to see me jorking my peanuts, dude. Come on. This is what I was going for, Machinima. What are you doing? Are you fucking dumb?
To me. To talk, to see if anything I wanted. I don't want you taking videos down. I'm already memeing.
I don't want you taking down my jerk video. It's like, dude, this is my fucking zenith. This is my legacy. Come on.
About it. I'm joking about it. And
I couldn't even imagine
Why would we be reacting in that way?
Fuck?
Like, it didn't seem to make sense to do that. But they had already taken it into their own hands. I guess they had an internal meeting and decided, oh, let's just do this, which I think is kind of underhanded and messed up, that you don't even involve the person that you're doing this to, because then, again, people always blamed me. They always came at me and said, oh, you did it. You did the takedowns. No, I didn't. And years later, I showed the dashboard on YouTube to show I never issued any of those claims. That was all Machinima doing it. I didn't feel like that was the right way to go about it, because I think that it's better to laugh with it.
Yeah,
okay?
He always thought that it was better to laugh with it. That's why he spent the entire first day that it happened banning people and trying to hide the fact that it happened. How cool. How meaningful. Anyway, that was the stream yesterday, or at least the beginning of it. I'm not going to subject you to the following, what seemed like an hour of fucking Q&A revolving around the topic, in which he got a little defensive here and there and obviously retconned more stuff. And I'm definitely not going to make you watch any of the Mega Man content. I actually, I clicked on a clip last night, late into the evening after the stream had ended, to see how it went, and I fell asleep within 8 minutes. So, narcolepsy cure indeed. If you were struggling with sleep recently, I'd go ahead and give that a try. But I'm not going to subject you to any of it. He did not hit his $1,000 goal that he arbitrarily set at the end of the stream because people decided to say that he'll never make $1,000 on stream. Didn't hit it. It was like $600 and some dollars, which is, of course, too much for what he was doing. He doesn't do anything that's worth $600 in a day, let alone in a year. But, I'll digress and we'll move on positively with our day, because that is the end of the stream. That's all I wanted to talk about. So I hope you all enjoyed yourself. If I see any interesting questions before I finish my closing, I will answer them. But I am going to start my closing now. I want to thank you all for being here, taking the time out of your Saturday to enjoy the guy with me. Enjoy being a very loose word, of course. And that's it. That's it. Sorry, you eat too much. That's it. If I don't see you until next Saturday, which I would expect to be the case, please enjoy the rest of your weekend and your work week, and stay safe and stay blessed. Goodbye.